Who's ready for the Dirt Life Show?
What is up, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook? This is the Dirt Life Show. We got an industry insider for you today. It's going to be really, really cool. We got the Parker 250 recap. We got tons of cool guests for you guys tonight. Some awesome results. Man, it was an insane race. But we're going to get all behind the scenes with, a bunch of people. Vito Ranuio, who placed second. Caden Danbury's his first actual desert race in the pro class. Jamie Campbell from Raceco USA. Let's see here. Justin Smith. Mikey's going to be on with Jamie Campbell, too. Phil Blurton, the winner. He's going to be on with Bo Judge. Mike DeLay, Max Eddy, Alexia Lemming. Man, we got a whole bunch of people. And the Murrays. Excuse me. Actually, I probably think it's just Derek Murray and James Woodford. And also Justin Smith had a crazy incident happen where he hit a cow with his brother Jason in the car. So we're going to talk about all that stuff. Vito Ranuio is going to be our first guest, so we'll wait till he jumps on here and talk with him a little bit and kind of just get into it. So let's get Vito on here real quick. Man, it's going to be awesome to talk about this race. It looked dusty though too, so we'll talk to Vito and see what he thought about the race too. What's up, LG? Vito, what's up, buddy?
How's it going?
Good, bro. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Dude, that race looked pretty gnarly, man. Super dusty or what?
We were pretty fortunate. We started, I think, sixth place, and we didn't really encounter a whole bunch of dust. We knew going into it, we had a few, cars I thought would have some issues out of the gate, and with maybe some belt temps and whatnot, and they kind of faded off in the first probably 30, 40 miles. We had some pretty clean air most of the day until probably about mile, on the second lap, we started encountering some lap traffic. And then probably like 40 miles in on the second lap, it was who? Oh, Guthrie. Yeah, Guthrie got back around us.
Oh, did he just shred right by you guys or what?
Yeah, we were running probably, I'm going to say we were running at least 95 miles an hour, right?
Really?
95, 97. He comes up behind us and just gives us a quick tap.
Dude, how gnarly was that? Have you ever got tapped going that fast? Because that sounds freaking scary.
Not that fast, no. That was pretty fast.
That's pretty crazy. What place did you guys start off in?
We qualified 5th in class, 6th overall. So we started 6th at 6th.
So you didn't have to deal with too much dust then.
No, we had like a motorcycle at the beginning that we got kind of caught up in for, it was quick, but it was on the haul road in the back. And then, coming out of Midway, we started encountering lap traffic, and that was about it though.
Dude, it looked like a pretty gnarly race to me. I mean, like, basically, I don't know. I always feel like Parker is like, slot car racing, right? Like, you don't have like all of these areas to pass like you would, like, let's just say in Mexico or maybe at the Mint or whatever. Like, it's a little bit different. What was your opinion on the course?
Yeah, it was super fun, the new section that was added. But you're right. I mean, Parker is pretty two-track, and you have the ball roads and stuff out back, at a high speed that you can do some work on. But yeah, if you're gonna pass, you gotta run up behind them and get up right on them,
Yeah, totally.
And, let them know you're there.
Like Mitch did to you guys.
Yeah, he played it cool. I mean, it wasn't. We didn't know he was there until like right at the very end. Like he came up, gives a bump, and like there was a siren. Like right when we heard it, like we started moving over, and he gave us a tap right away. So
right on.
That car's pretty quick. Like I said, we were running, I'm going to say 95, 96, 97 miles an hour, and he comes up behind us and gives us a pretty good little tap, nothing, he did it right. Not an issue.
How'd the race like start out for you guys then? Cause like when I was talking to people, at least today and yesterday, a lot of people said that it was, I don't even know how to put it. Maybe like first race jitters, like they had to work some stuff out in the car. They made some changes or whatever. Did you guys do any changes or was it just like smooth sailing, keep the car going?
No, you know something? I don't know if say it respectful, but we've got a pretty good momentum going, right? So we're not changing much, right? We're doing a full prep every time. I mean, we've already started our prep right here. You can see. I mean, my guys are they're tearing down right now as you speak.
Oh, nice, dude. Dude, you already got it all cleaned up and everything.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, we're ready. We never wait. Even after the race, we drove home after the race. 10-hour drive, got back home 2:45 in the morning, slept for a little bit, woke back up, unpacked, washed everything, put on the stand.
Really?
And then,
that's dedication right there.
Yeah, and then today we like to do it like within a day or two of the race. We'll tear the whole car down, inspect everything, see what we need for parts. So it gives us a little bit of time. If we try to stock at least everything, so we have enough to replace everything for the next race. But if not, then we give us a little time to.
Well, I feel like that's a good move too, because then like you're fresh, right? You can be like, check over the whole car, and then you can be like, well, I felt something loose in the left front, or maybe there was some flex in the chassis. Check this area, like whatever it was. So everything's fresh in your mind too.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, I hate waiting because I don't like getting caught in the last minute and not having the part I need and have to okay, well, I'll just make do. Well, no, you can't make do. That's not. I've learned that quick. It's just. A lot of the races won right here, right today, right now where we're at.
Yeah, exactly. And then, so what's your plans to go for the next races? You're going to probably do the Mint 400 again, and then what other races?
Well, we're turning and burning this car, so we're going to go run that King of Hammers desert race. So that's in 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, so you got to get that thing ready quick.
Yes, we got to run that one, and then from there we're going to go back to the UTV Legends race.
Yep.
For Best of the Desert, and then we're not sure after that. We're not going to be running any. I mean, we're going to run all of Best of the Desert for sure. We're committed to run the whole season there.
Okay, cool. Maybe try to contend for a championship
I'm on the fence about the Mint. I don't know if I'm gonna do it or not. We'll see.
Just see what happens. Yeah, I feel you on that. But yeah, maybe contend for a championship in Best in the Desert since you started off so strong.
Yeah. No, and that was the whole thing. I mean, we're going to the race now to be on the box, right? That's our goal. We're pushing hard to be on it, and and showing. And it's nice that we got to come back, after being disqualified at the Mint, and like I said, they couldn't take our drag away from us, but I wanted to come back and show that we could do it, right? Like it's not a fluke, right? We're really trying hard. We're putting the effort into to do well, right, and be on the podium, right, and earn it. It's not, so we're backing it. I mean, it's been, I think 4 or 5 in a row now.
Yeah. Well, I told you, we had a private conversation on the phone, and I told you, I said, man, just keep doing what you're doing, because what you're doing is good, and you're going to be able to show everybody what it is, and obviously it's coming through.
Yeah. But no, the whole race, the race started out real good for us. I was even telling my co-driver, I was like, man, I'm way too calm. Like, I'm way too relaxed for this race. I just didn't feel like I personally had the drive. It felt like the car was a little bit soft in the rear, but I just think we're just driving the cars harder now. We're just blowing through the travel a little easier, but I'm going to work on that. About mile 100-ish, I blew a belt, and I haven't blown a belt. Shoot, I couldn't even tell you the last time I blew a belt. So I got a little gun shy there. It got wadded up in our secondary and broke our case and stuff. But, I mean, the course was fast. It was fun. It was a really fast. Just long stretch, that just high speed. So it was a cool change of pace.
Yeah. We got a comment that said from Jacob Hernandez that the co-pilot was putting down his helmet visor to protect his face while rolling at 90 miles per hour. Yeah, so I mean the pace was pretty fast. Did you do a lot to the car before the event or no?
Well, every race we do about the same amount of prep, So we actually qualified on our old so. Everything from the previous, we have a set of qualifying axles and diff and stuff like that. So we prepped the entire car, anything to do with suspension and whatnot was changed and replaced prior to the event. But then we qualified, and after qualifying, we put a new set of axles in, a new differential in it, and then we went through all the suspension again and anything,
Dang, you guys didn't mess around. MRT Off-Road, so congratulations, Vito. Brian Atkinson, what's up, dude? 518 Designs just joined us. Yeah, there was I don't know, there was a lot of people that were last year at Parker. I felt like the vibe was a little bit higher. Like there was more like I don't know, like hype, right? Like there was everybody in the pits and everybody in the tech and contingency was like so jazzed up. But like after this year, like when we were like looking at all the pit stuff, it seemed like what you said. Like everybody was pretty calm and like mellow, like just how you were. Oh shoot, we lost audio. I lost audio on you, Vito. Can you hear me or no? So yeah, the Murray brothers tried to call in and they messed up the audio. So don't try to call in again, boys. Can you hear me, Vito, or no? Can you hear me or no, Vito? I don't know what happened to the audio. It looks like all the audio equipment is working good on Facebook and YouTube. So we'll see if we can get it back going here on Instagram. Can you hear me now, Vito?
Yes.
Okay, cool. We had a question come in that said MRT off-road, or no, actually, Nolan Williams said, what was your top speed of the race?
105.
105, really?
Yeah, 105.
Holy smokes, dude. Where was that at? What section?
Trying to think. Back on the back section, there's like I don't know, it was like a 7 or 8 mile run we would do it at. We would run the car up to it and pedal it a little bit because we had great, just the RPMs at that high can be a little much on the belt. So we try to tone it down a little bit. I think maybe we might have compromised the belt ourselves by running those speeds, We're kind of pedaling the car between, the high speed stuff between high 90s to 104, 105.
Dude, that is so fast. Like, how does that feel when you're going that fast? And this is actually going to lead to a question that I have for Justin Smith at Shock Therapy when he calls in a little bit later. But how does it feel on the course when you're going that fast through those 2-track sections?
I love the high speed stuff. So I know it could be uncomfortable at times, but I really enjoy it, especially when you're in a 2-track and in the car, you can just feel it. It's wanting to pull you side to side, that kind of speed, you definitely have to hold on to the wheel, you don't want to.
Yeah, so like if you were going to give like a newbie like some advice about that, because like I've felt that feeling before too, and you kind of just let the car do what it's going to do. Sometimes you let your hands a little bit softer on the steering wheel. Sometimes you have to grip it really hard depending on how it feels. Like, how would you tell a person that it feels like when you're going down that if they've never done it before? Because it's pretty intense, right?
Yeah, no, I would. I know I can see people where they're sitting there trying to fight the car, right? And if you're going to fight the car, it's going to fight back, right? So if you could just let it, I say, you give your car some boundaries to stay in, right? And you just guide it and let it go and stay in those boundaries, right? But you don't want to hold it in one spot because, you can. I don't know. I've seen it. I've seen it happen to me where the car will jump up, and it'll kick sideways on you, and you'll really lose control of that car.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and that's what we're going to talk about a little bit later. Like, because going that fast, like it doesn't actually seem like it's that fast. Like, let's just say you're going down a nice wide road, it's smooth. You can tell that you're going that fast, but instantly when you look to the left or to the right, you're like, holy cow, we are moving.
Yeah. You don't look too much off the side, you just kind of stay focused at those speeds. Especially in the back there was a really fine sand, and it was, it's felt like you're in, out in the dunes, and it just doesn't have the same feel like if you're on like a nice hard packed, gravel haul road or.
Yeah. Totally. I give you guys so much credit because it takes a lot of concentration, and obviously your co-driver has a lot to do with that too. 518 Design guy said, Vito the Rocket. Yeah, for sure. Got to flow with it, Nick Shearer. Yep, you're right, dude. What was one of the favorite portions of the race? Because, actually, you know what? Before we ask that, how long were you out there? Like, what was the total duration of time? I think I have it here as well.
4:13.
Yeah, 4:13:52 here is what your time was, and then Phil Blurton's going to come on a little bit later, and he was 4:05. So it's about 8 minutes difference, 8 minutes and 20 seconds or so difference, and so in a 250-mile race, man, that's pretty close.
Yeah, like I said, we gave up quite a bit of time, I'd say. 4 minutes or so trying to deal with a belt issue, which my co-driver did a great job with what he had to deal with. We lost some time there, and then you get a little gun shy. And that's when Mitch passed me. I was kind of pedaling the car at 95, right? Through that long stretch back there. He comes motoring around me in that new car.
So, when was that? That was in the first lap?
No, that was on the second lap. I would say like 40, 50 miles into the second lap. 60 miles in the second lap, maybe.
Did you guys have anything I don't know, really fun or really sketchy happen?
Well, when I was going through a walk, I did see a cow's tail like whipped in the bushes, right?
Oh,
and
shit!
I told my co-driver, I'm like, dude, there's cows out here, and he's like, open range, and I was like, oh man, please don't let us see a cow out here, right? And we come ripping by, and there was a cow in the bushes, right?
Yeah.
And I was kind of on point after that, just seeing what was out there. I didn't know it. I saw cows, like signs of them, but I never saw anything.
We're going to talk about that with Justin a little bit. Yeah, like I've been on a side-by-side ride before, and I passed the cow and I missed him, and then the dude behind me just freaking nailed him. So I can totally feel Justin's pain. But so what was a couple of the things that happened during your guys' race that were eventful? Because I know that you're a really consistent driver. You like to make sure that you stay smooth, and you're giving it 100%, but like the car's capabilities. So if I'm sitting there and I'm the co-driver, I know that you have control of everything that's going on, but maybe from the driver's seat, you can tell us something that was unprecedented for you during the race.
I don't know. I mean, it's funny. My co-driver, I was talking to him today. He said, this is probably the calmest you've ever been out there. I didn't say but 5 words out in the whole race, and it wasn't very eventful. I mean, I love Osborne wash. That's just a fun wash. It was fun to run it backwards like that. The goat trail and everything, running that backwards up those rocks and everything was real fun.
Is it one of those things for you, like adrenaline just like keeps you calm? Like you're just like, you have your like, I don't know, like you're at peace when you're going that fast? Because I know a lot of guys that are like that.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me at all. I wish we did a side-by-side start because that gets my adrenaline going, because now I'm like door to door with somebody. And so I didn't feel like I had the start of the race that way. And we just took off, and I was calm, and it was like the entire day was like that. It was just, I mean, I go in the pits, and we cruise in there, and the guys behind me that work on the car right now, it's like we're in the pits 20 seconds, fuel the car in and out. It's like I don't worry about any of that stuff.
That's so cool though that you have the team that you can have that happen. Do you like when your co-driver talks the whole time? Like, does he have to like be on the microphone the whole time, telling you what to do, like guiding you and stuff, or do you like peace and quiet?
No, I prefer them just to continually talk. It doesn't bother me. I mean, I can tune about anybody else. So
yeah,
more information the better, right? And I'll use what I want out of it. That's what I tell them.
Yeah, absolutely.
When nervous, especially like when I'm at a high speed. I'd like to know, like, hey, straight, straight, or everything's straight for the next 2 miles, or
yeah, we got a couple switchbacks or whatever it is.
Yeah, just because at the rate of speed you're going, you're not going to stop in time if something does like randomly pop out on you or danger is there. So it's nice to know that everything's good. Even when you're at that speed and it's quiet, that they can keep talking. It's reassuring.
Yeah, 100%. I totally agree. Well, I'm stoked for you, man. Like, there was some stuff that you were disappointed that happened at the Mint 400, but we all thought that you had a fantastic race. I've told you a million times, even on the show after the Mint 400, you did a fantastic job. And to see you come back really strong at the first race of 2022 really made me happy, dude. When I saw you, I was like, that is so cool, man. So I really, really look for you to do really well this season. So I'm pumped.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that vote of confidence. I mean, we're definitely stoked, right, just to come out of the gate like this and to have a good spot.
Yeah, for sure. Manny Boy actually commented in and said drivers and co-drivers need to be comfortable doing 110% the entire time now. You can probably agree with that, but I would say that your 110%, since you can keep it mellow, is probably a little bit calmer and a little bit more controlled than a lot of guys.
Well, I don't know that. I mean, you have to ask my co-driver that. I think I do a great job, but who knows,
He's probably back there just scared shitless.
No, actually, he stays extremely calm. That to me, that's an important thing. When you have somebody in the passenger seat, and you say you do have an event that takes place, right, or a sketchy moment, or you do the corner, and then somebody goes, or reacts to that, it makes me react. I don't like. I tell my coach, listen, whatever you got going on, bottle it up.
Yeah.
I don't want to know about it. Right?
Yep.
Keep yourself, and I'll stay calm, and I'll do a better job.
That old motto, don't bring your problems to work.
That's right. Like I tell them before the race, hey, don't be that guy, right? You don't bring your problems in here.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you got one thing to focus on, and that's just getting across the finish line first. So,
Yeah, we're trying. We're gonna make it our goal. I mean, these guys make it tough. I mean, especially Phil, right? I mean, he goes out there, makes it look so easy, but they put a ton of work in to make it look that easy.
yeah, exactly. Well, I appreciate you coming on, dude. It was cool to see you out there. Like I said, I was pumped to see you. I want to apologize though because I didn't get a chance to see you when we were at Tech and Contingency. By the time I got freed up to go do it, I was already like looking for you, and you were already down to past the pit. You already got through Tech, so it was pretty quick for you.
Yeah, no, that's all good. I appreciate you having fun.
Cool, man. Well, yeah. So, what did you say was the next race for you guys? The King of the Hammers.
King of Hammers Desert Race.
Dude, that's gonna be pretty fun. What day is that actually? Because I think February 3rd is the UTV day through the Rock. So when is the actual like desert race?
The Saturday before that, so it's like the 20. I don't know, that 29th or I don't remember. It's the last Saturday. I think it is last Saturday of the month.
Okay.
The pre-running starts on Thursday afternoon. Got Thursday, Friday pre-run, and then you have the race on Saturday.
Are you gonna be out there all week or no?
No, I'm just going out there for the 2 days of pre-running and the race. So I'll be out there for like 3 or 4 5 days. Maybe.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, well, we'll try to see you out there. And then Manny Boy also said, looking forward to battling with the best of the best this year. Vito has proved himself one of the best this weekend. Well, I think he's been doing that all last year, but yeah, we agree, Manny Boy, for sure. Hey, you probably know that Ashley Ranuio? She said such a stud. Well, we really appreciate it, man. And thank you to Ashley, too, for helping me with your guys' last name. It's pretty awesome that we got that taken care of.
Yeah, no kidding.
But yeah, thank you. Really appreciate it, man.
All right.
All right, Vito.
Hey,
yeah, go ahead.
you good?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying. I was going to cut out.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, thank you very much, dude. Like I said, you did a great job this weekend, and we want to see you do good at the races for the rest of the year, dude. A Best in the Desert Championship is not far away.
Yeah, I hope so. Thanks for the confidence.
Yeah, all right, homie. We'll see you later.
All right, take care.
Bye-bye. So, yeah, next we got our good friend Caden Danbury. He's going to come on the show and hang out with us for a little bit. Caden actually had some fun with us at Are You Smarter Than a Third Grader questions. And he also had his first desert race. We're going to talk to him, see about how he did, how he felt, and all that good stuff. It's neat to see the kids coming up and actually getting in the pro class and the pro ranks now. I'm always a big fan of the kids, right? So it'll be neat to see what Caden says, how he was doing, how he felt, all that good stuff. So we'll wait and see if he'll come on the line real quick. Let's see here. Caden Danbury. They built that desert car in, we'll say, record time, man. So it'll be cool to see what he has to say as well. Caden Danbury, what's up, buddy?
What's up, George?
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Are you feeling pretty hyped up after your first desert race? Well, your first pro desert race?
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked. I really slept in yesterday. Went to bed at 2:45, or 3:45, somewhere around there. I was tired. I was pretty beat, but now I'm feeling better. Still have adrenaline rushing through, so I'm pretty stoked.
All right, so let's give the viewers like a little bit of an understanding. So you've been on the show a bunch of times, but how old are you?
I'm 13 years old and just joined desert. I've been doing this for 8 years now.
It's pretty crazy, though. Do you feel like it's like a whole new start to your career? Because I mean, you've been doing racing works and racing side-by-sides for a long time. So basically you're a veteran, right? But like being 13 and going out and competing against like grown men, basically, like, does it feel like a whole new chapter for you or what?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I was on the line thinking like, my whole life I've been wanting to do this. Like even from day one in 170s, I had sirens in my race car. We wanted to put spare tires in the back of those things. Like I was like, I always wanted to be in the desert thing. I've always loved it. Always watched stuff about it, and now I'm finally here. I was like sitting on the race line, I'm like, wow, this is the moment I've been waiting for.
This is what it's all about, man. Yeah, that's so cool. And I felt that same way when I first started racing Supercross. Like, I felt like I was a really cool, fast kid the whole time. And like 7 years later, you turn pro and you're like, uh-oh, I got to start all over again.
Yeah, it's a whole new genre of people that you're racing, so it's pretty crazy.
Let's see here. John Lewis from Desert Squadron said, how cool was it to not only finish your first pro desert race, but to do it with your dad in the right seat as a co-driver? That was pretty cool, right?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. We had some issues with my co-driver getting sick in qualifying, so my dad ended up hopping in the car, and it went perfect. I mean, no issues, no complaints, and we worked together so well. Came into every pit laughing, having a good old time, just like.
Did you scare the crap out of him at all?
A few times I think I scared him, but we had an issue with him hitting his head because he's so big for the car, and so like a few times I hear dunk dunk. I'm like, oh, there's your head.
I feel like that's the best thing to do though. Like, why not go scare your dad, right? Then it like it makes him like feel like, holy cow, my kid is awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was nice having him in some of the corners. Like I caught myself, I would have hit the gas like a second later, but he was right there on it, told me to hit the throttle, and I came out on that quarter firing. And then we finally found a pace whenever we got behind a car. We followed him for a good 20, 30 miles right on his tail and chased him forever. And then we found a good race pace, and we ran that for the rest of the race.
Oh, cool. So it kind of gave you a little bit of an understanding of the way that you can drive too.
Yeah, I wasn't sure like what everyone's race pace was because we were passing a few cars that were going slower. And I'm like, is this too much? And then whenever we got behind some of the fast guys in my class, we found our pace, and then I picked up my pace and ended up running that for a while.
That's cool, man. That means a lot to me because I know how much that actually helps your driving abilities. Regina said she's so proud of you. You've been talking about this for years. Yeah, Caden has been talking about it for years, and he finally got to do his first race.
I know. We had this planned out for a good year, and just like wanted to make sure we didn't go into it blindly. We started pitting with Dallas Gonzalez. We were going with him to the races, helping pit. And I was just taking notes, honestly. I wanted to see what we could have all done better as a team. And we ended up teaming up with them anyway, so it kind of worked out. We kind of grew as a team. And now that I'm in the car, we kind of just been growing together. And now we ended up teaming up. Me and Dallas have matching cars. Mine's just blue, his is red.
Teamwork makes the dream work, buddy.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I was pretty stoked on that.
That is pretty cool. All right, so give us a little bit of an understanding. I want to see two questions. I want to answer the first question of how much work it took to get that car out there, and then the second question that we're going to answer after is how much work it took for the car to get across the finish line.
Yeah, it takes a lot. It's a lot more than a works program, I can tell you that much. We had that 12 races in a tight section. And it was a lot for us, and we really didn't have time to think about this program. And kind of really Thanksgiving, then we're like, all right, we're coming close. We're coming really tight. We got to start working on this program. And then we started contacting sponsors and got it all figured out. And slowly we got the parts, and I think we built this car in 5 weeks, and it turned out amazing. I love it.
You had a lot of people that helped you get that thing ready too, right?
Yeah, at the end I'll list all my sponsors. It's a big old list, but everyone helped me get out there. It was a rush for everyone to get my stuff, but came together and it really came to use.
Yeah, totally. KJ Angie said it's so awesome. Parker is the best first race. She's so proud of you, or he's so proud of you. I think everybody is proud of you. I mean, I saw so many people that were stoked for you just to be there before the race even started. Unfortunately, I didn't get to stay for the whole race, but when I saw that you crossed the finish line, I saw the smile on your dad's face. I just knew that everybody around you was so pumped on everything that you did. But then I started thinking, wow, like I wonder what Caden was thinking the whole time, because he has all of these supporters and all of these people. Did he feel any extra pressure during the race? Did he just focus on the goal? Like, what was he thinking in the car when he was, out there on the track? So maybe you can tell me what you were thinking.
Yeah, I was honestly thinking finishing is what this is about. Sometimes it is cool to be a winner, but it also is cooler to be a finisher. I have stepped it up in miles. So work races are about 25, 30 miles, 45-minute races, and now we're doing hour races or hour plus races. So we ended up finishing it in I think 5 hours and 15 minutes. But we had a few difficulties with fuel. We still have a stock tank in here, so we can only get about roughly 70 miles. So
Oh yeah, and you don't even have a dry brake, huh?
So it's we use normal little gas cans that you can use for dirt bikes and desert. So there's like stuff like that, and I feel like that cut us back some time. We ended up running to an issue where we ran 1 bar for 18 miles, and if you know what bars are in racing, it's the amount of gas you have. And we were cutting short. We had a faster pace, so a little bit faster of a burn. So we were really tight on gas, and we weren't sure if we were going to make it. We ended up making it.
That's so scary, though, because you're like, oh, my God, please, please, please don't run out.
Yeah, we ended up making it to the pit, our main fuel pit, and it was flashing. And it's like, low fuel, low fuel. I'm like, ooh, this is tight.
Yeah,
we made it to the pit, and our amazing pit crew fueled us up really fast. So it worked out, and then we got back to pace. But so that set us back a little bit. I feel like we were doing pretty good with we found the right pace. And we ended up passing like 9 cars in the first lap in our class.
Dang, dude, that's crazy. Stonebelt Racing said, congratulations, Caden. Pretty badass. And then Jeffrey Ricker said, need to come up with a new series to track these up-and-comers. Yeah, I mean, hopefully the Dirt Life can keep it all tracked with these guys. I mean, like, I'm so pumped on Caden and all these young kids that Alexia Lemming's going to talk with us on the show tonight as well. But yeah, see, Johnny said he ran out of fuel in pit too. I think everybody was like really on the gas, like a lot harder than, I mean, because even Vito Ranuio before, he was like, dude, the pace was fast.
Yeah, a lot of people have been telling me that Parker is the one to be known for burning fuel. There's all these different terrains. There's rocks, there's sand washes,
yep.
There's hard pack. It's like you can never really get a good estimate, and whenever you get the track, there's no pre-running, so you can't base it off of that. So I heard this is the main like fuel eater. So we're kind of tight on fuel, short on staff because of this crazy COVID stuff. So
what did you think like of the actual pace then? So like for a lot of those guys, like let's just use Dustin Jones for an example, because we'll consider him a veteran, right? He knows how to run that pace. He knows what the car will take. He knows all of the ins and outs of it because he's, so mature as a racer. For you, it was like stepping out of work. So now all of a sudden you're in desert racing at basically a professional level. Like, how was that pace for you when you started seeing how fast those guys were going? Were you like, man, I got a lot to learn? Or were you like, well, I'm pretty close. I just got to fine tune a few things.
Yeah, I started off about a 70% pace.
But so that was your pace, though, not everybody else's pace. Yeah.
Yeah, so I started off there, and then once I found everyone else's pace, I was pretty much all the way in my top pace, honestly. It was pretty crazy. Now that all these cars can handle pretty much anything and the amount of parts that we carry and stuff, you can really push as hard as you can, 110%.
How did you feel going that fast? Was it a little bit, unnerving? Like you felt like, wow, like this is as fast as I've ever gone in a UTV for this amount of time?
I honestly was just amazed how these Polaris racers can handle. Like, we were going about 75, 80 miles an hour for a good 9 miles, never lifting and just going around on the straightaway, just like on it. And I'm like, wow, the belt times must be skyrocketing, but they weren't. And the car stayed good. It was handling perfectly over these bumps. And it was like, it's crazy. You really, in desert racing, you really get to see how much these cars work. These cars are amazingly built. I love these things.
Yeah, they're pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
So, like knowing that that Vito, because when he was on just a second ago, he said that there was sometimes when he was going 90 to 105 miles an hour on the course. Like knowing that he's going that fast, do you think that you can push the pace to be at that level?
Yeah, I think I can definitely push it a little more. I do want to finish this season, so I am gonna. My car will only push 80 with these NA cars. Those turbo cars are crazy fast. Like some of them would pass by, and they look like those things were jogging. So
Yeah, and he even said when we talked to Vito, he said that he was going, I don't know, like 92 or 95 or something, and he's like Mitch Guthrie came up on him and just tapped him going 95 miles an hour or whatever, and then just passed him. Like, holy cow.
Yeah, like I think at one point we were going like 65, and someone came out of the dust right behind us. So like 65 in dust. I mean, that's on the edge right there.
That's cooking pretty good, right? It sounds like you had a lot of fun, dude. I mean, you got a big smile on your face. I'm pumped for you.
Yeah, I really love this. I've been wanting to do this for years, and it finally happened. Now, like, I was coming home from the race, and I'm already looking at stuff for next race and writing my list. And like, I was going through the car today and just looking at a few things that I can make better. And now that we got a car, now it's just those fine adjustments to make it perfect.
Yeah, you're already debriefing and getting everything better for the next time, right? Vito did the same thing. He was already prepping his car, dude, getting ready for KOH.
Yeah, we have to take this thing totally apart because we're going to put a fuel cell in it, and it's at like a 9-gallon right now for stock. We're putting a 20-gallon.
So when you're talking, like obviously you want to get a fuel cell, like, so this like made me think, like when you're talking to the family or the race program, like all of this stuff when you're driving home, like what are some of the stuff that you're like, okay, I could go faster, I could pit less, like what are some of the things that you could give advice to somebody like me if I wanted to start desert racing?
Yeah, so I've had everyone tell me this, and I think it's definitely a big thing. You don't want to stop. Honestly, if people are passing you and you pick up your pace, but it's an uncomfortable pace that you could break stuff, it's not worth it. I've had a lot of, like, from my friends from Walker Evans, my family, they tell me, like, you can't pop a tire because that's 30 seconds whenever you're trying to make up time, and it's not worth it. And 30 seconds, that's a rough estimate, probably like a minute for a tire, but like stuff like that, that's a minute down on your time.
Yeah,
when,
exactly.
Top guys are running no stops, fast race pace.
Going like so yeah, I totally agree with that. So the less you can stop, the more you can have an average pace.
Yeah, so like it was a little bit harder for me to catch up with that pace with my fuel stops because I had to stop 3 times during the race. When my friend only had to stop once, Dallas only had to stop once because he had the fuel cell, and that's if you think about it, that's like 3 times of, if not more, of he is.
Yeah, exactly. Because then you're
gaining
staying.
On me.
Jeremy and Stephanie Graves were saying nerfing rules have changed this year. Just a heads up. Yeah, I heard a lot of people complaining about nerfing, man. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm not the race organization director, but desert racing is desert racing. When you're in the desert, there's all kinds of stuff that happens. So, yeah, I don't need to be racing anymore, is what Cody says. Who knows, Cody? I might get back out on the track one of these days. John Lewis from Desert Squadron says he went from 2nd to 6th in our race because of a flat. Yeah, see, that's exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty crazy how this little stuff can take you out. And we ended up coming in with a shock bolt that wasn't completely tightened. It had a small crack in it, and like just that stuff that could have taken us out for a while. And then we finished 11th. We would have dropped from 11th to 18 just replacing that bolt with tight times.
How did you feel? So I want you to answer 2 questions. First of all, how you felt after you were done with the race.
I felt my adrenaline never stopped after the race. I wanted to go do another lap, like mentally. But like physically, I was just wanted to get out. I was a little bit beat up. The last 30 miles they can beat you up pretty well. Dude,
that's so cool though. The hype was real, man.
Yeah, I know. I just wanted to keep on going. I was having so much fun.
I think we got like a minute.
Was, like, never stopping.
I know, you just want to keep going and going. I think we got like a minute or so left. So tell us what your favorite part of the actual race was. My favorite part, I'll tell you, was when I saw you smile on your and your dad's face.
Yeah, I think my favorite part was finishing. Honestly, we were coming to like mile marker 123, and we're like, wow, this is like actually happening. We already completed over 200 miles at mile marker 123 on the next lap, and like we could see the lights for the finish. Like keep the car together. It's like it was crazy. Me and my dad were like freaking out. We're like, yeah,
let's just bring it home.
Already pumped up. Yeah, we were like cruising on the way back. It's like we saw the finish and we didn't want to stop. And we knew that we weren't quite there for the thing, but we still were pushing, and we're just absolutely stoked.
It's just like you said at the beginning of the show when you came on, like just finishing the race, understanding what you need to do. Like, if you hadn't finished, it would have been such a bad thing. Like, your momentum is going, your head's strong right now. Like, Elliot Watson just chimed in. He said, "Good job, Caden. Keep it up, dude." Like,
Thank you, Elliot.
now everything's rolling where you're understanding what needs to happen. So it just goes up. You're going to get better from here, dude. I'm so pumped for you, buddy.
Thank you.
All right, we got to get Jamie Campbell and the Honda guys on. So please tell your family we said hello. Tell Remy that now she can go to all her horse races since you guys are done building the car or horse meets.
Yep.
So please tell your family we said hello and congratulations, dude. You did an awesome
All right.
job.
Thank you. Have a good day. And also to you, everyone.
All right, later, Caden. All right, we're gonna get Jamie Campbell on here. Elliot, you're welcome to join too. I think Mikey's gonna join us as well. Let's see here. Yeah, so I think Jamie and Mikey Sandoval are going to join us. What's up, boys?
Hey.
Yeah, we can totally get Elliot on if you want as well. But I just want to make sure you guys were good first.
Yeah, no, we're good. If you want to call him.
Well, he just has to join us, so he's already on here. So if he wants to join us, he's more than welcome to jump on. Well, good job, guys. So, Mikey, you came across the finish in first place this weekend in the NA class, huh, buddy?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Cool.
Try to get a little closer to the microphone or sit a little closer to Jamie.
We're fresh with this. We don't know how to do this stuff. Dude.
That's all right, dude. You guys can scoot
close.
close.
It's all about Mikey right now, anyway.
Yeah, okay, it sounds pretty good. You guys are doing good, though. Yeah, Mikey, dude, I'm pumped for you. We saw your car out there. First of all, I like the white car the best. The white Honda Talon is one of my all-time favorites, so I may or may not have wanted the white car to win, Jamie. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
But, yeah, so you brought 2 Honda Talons to the race, so give us a little bit of an understanding of what the program was like when you guys were headed out to the track, and then we'll talk to Mikey about the races, Jamie.
This year we definitely stepped up this race part of it. As you know, Raceco's been handling Honda Talons since they came out. So we got all our aftermarket parts for them and stuff. So this year we were hit up by, different sponsors and stuff that I've been, with for a long time, but, I've been loyal to. But this year they really wanted us to race more. So we put together a program. Obviously, Mikey works for me here in the shop every day, busting his butt, building parts, and then he goes home at night and works on his own car and preps it himself and stuff. So, brought on Elliot Watson after the Ball 1000 in 2020. Elliot started, I started helping him as well. We went into this Parker race with our new program and decided we want to do 2 separate classes to try to win 2 championships. So, Mikey's racing NA Pro and Elliot and I entered. I'm basically super stock, which was pure stock last year, which I won a championship last year. Pure stock, so I want to defend that championship.
Dude, I honestly think that's one of the coolest classes, though. I mean, the pace may not be quite as fast as the NA class, but that's such a good entry-level class for all the vehicles. So it really gets to show what your products are about, what the Honda Talon products are about, and all of the other vehicles that can compete in that class, too. Big Nate says, good stuff, Mikey. All of us from Fallbrook are hella proud.
Thank you, man. Yeah, so, we were going in pretty confident. These cars, like you said, the super stock class is a great class because it keeps, it's really helping us sell parts and stuff too. So it's keeping it more stock and OEM and all that. And then, Mikey's Talon is actually pretty much, it's pretty stock. There's not, it's all our bolt-on parts. There's Elliot right there.
Yeah. What's up, Elliot? How are you?
Can't complain. How are you guys? Sorry, I was in the shower and I hear you guys call my name. Like, oh, geez, I gotta get out of here. So, sorry, I didn't know I was jumping on this.
Way to jump at it quick, dude. Yeah, Jamie. So you got obviously you had 3 guys on the program, and you guys come out to Parker. Were the expectations set pretty high with the whole team to be able to go out there and do it, or what did you guys have as a mental perspective before you hit the track?
I was pretty much like, we need to just finish this first race and get some momentum for the rest of the season. And this knucklehead right here, after 20 years, put our car on its lid in the first 12 miles. So we got that going again, and ended up having another mechanical later on. But Mikey took that advice and did his job and came home with a really solid win.
Yeah, that's super cool. Well, we're going to talk with Mikey definitely about his win, because I want to understand how fast that pace was in the normally aspirated class, because it seems like it's getting to be really fast. But which class did you race, Elliot?
Jamie and I were supposed to half it in the super stock class, so I was supposed to go and do the second lap, but we had a little issue the first lap, and that didn't end up happening. So kind of a bummer deal, but just pumped to be able to help Mikey get his car to the finish up top.
Yeah, that's cool. And then so Mikey, like, what was the starting position that you guys started in?
On Thursday, I qualified in fifth. Yeah, so we were fifth off the line.
That's pretty good, man. That's actually a good position to start. But what was so fifth in the NA class, but what was the total position that you were starting in? Because I want to get an understanding of how much dust you had to push through.
It was 49th, I believe, 49th overall.
Point the phone a little bit more towards you. We can't see Jamie, so just put yourself in the center of the camera real quick. So 49th, you said?
Yeah, 49th position off the start.
Oh, that sounds way better. Dude, so how was the, like, I don't know what I want to say, like, how fast did you have to work through the pack to get where you wanted to go? Because 49 people is not easy to work through.
Definitely not. I kind of came into it before, like, I needed to pass people before I got into, like, the really high-speed sections so I can really get going and go fast. But, yeah, the dust was brutal, that's for sure.
When you were in the car, were you able to get any advice from, like, let's just say Elliot in the pits or anybody else to understand, like, how the track was, where you're going, like, or get any information on what the car was doing, like, back and forth? I want to know what the team vibe was.
Yeah, so actually that's kind of funny to say that. On the first lap, I went under a tree and I broke the antenna off my car. So I can only hear people from so far away.
Oh man, that's brutal.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean the only thing I really ever heard all day is when we came into Midway, Elliot told me I was second car physically and I was only a minute behind him.
Dang, that's pretty cool. So, and how fast did you get up to that point? That place?
I didn't realize it, but I passed a lot of people on the first lap, and I didn't realize it because of a lot of dust. But second lap, that's when I found out I was in second.
How was it going through all those people? What's up, Ken? Legends only get it, boys. Yeah, so you know him, Jamie Campbell, our buddy Ken.
What's that?
You know our buddy.
What's that?
You know our buddy Ken Johnson. He just logged on.
Yeah.
He said, "Legends only get it, boys." But yeah, so going through the pack like that has got to be pretty gnarly. Well, and obviously you did it with zero communications. You've done that, Elliot, actually before. Like, how is that when you're thinking about it from Mikey's point of view?
For a desert race like this, it's pretty, like a 250-mile race. It's kind of gnarly because the pace now in the NA class is so fast. For a race more like Baja, where you kind of spread out more, it's a little bit different. But a race like Parker, it's so fast paced. Everything, getting time splits is pretty crucial to what pace you got to run. And if you could, go and overdrive the car, trying to make up time and break it, but you also you don't want to be slow and get beat. So for Mikey, I've heard he didn't have communication, so you're trying to do everything we could to try and keep in the loop with where he was at on track and to make sure he had a good second lap.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I can agree with that too. And we just had Caden Danbury on before you guys came on, and he was talking about works racing and stuff. When you just said that Baja thing, I can kind of compare it like a works race and then Baja, and then in between is like a Parker 250, right? Because it's still wide open like a works race, but it's got some of those desert of terrain and stuff like that in there too, because it's so fast.
Yeah, exactly. And also with Parker, guys start 30 seconds apart, where works or Lucas are short for a style track. You kind of are more racing for a physical position, so you know where you're at on track. But Parker, it's if you have that 30-second gap, you're not on the guy's tail enough, you're going to pass them or whatnot. So I think that's probably the biggest difference with communication and desert races.
Yeah, totally. Jamie, you can point the phone back towards you. So when you have when you're thinking about that stuff, do you have a different? I mean, you've raced everything, right? You've raced short course races, you've raced moto, and now big cars, and now you're racing UTVs. Do you have a strategy that you tell the team how you want it to work when they're going into a race like the Parker 250? I mean, because it basically is balls to the wall from the start.
The hard part about Parker is, believe it or not, it's very one lined, So I would say the best advantage to pass people is on the fast roads if you could get through the dust. But even after we got the car put back over, I was catching the tail end of the rally class or the sportsman class, and just like everybody said, the dust is brutal. Well, there's like I said, it's very one line, so you have to really take some chances to race through the dust to get on people. And there was multiple times in every race where you see that blue light and you just start watching the blue light. You don't even watch where you're driving. You're watching the guy in front of you's blue light.
Yep.
And you have to either step up and take a chance or back off and wait longer. But like Mikey, I know where he's at because last year in Parker, I started 27th, I think. And you have to make moves early, else the leaders are just going to leave you, So the leaders are going to have some clean air, and they're just going to keep pulling away, and you're stuck behind 20 guys. So it's a tough call. I know it's only a 250-mile race. You have to treat it like a Baja 1000, but you also have to go, man, I got to make moves fast, so I'm going to get left behind. So,
yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying. Like, it's almost a sprint, right, compared to a Baja 1000. Like, that's why I was kind of gauging what your guys' vibe was. And so, Mikey, maybe you could point the phone back over towards you. Like, when you know that, like, what's the mentality? Are you just like, you know what, pin it to win it, or like, how do you go about it?
Yeah, it's pretty much pin it to win it until you realize that you're in a good position. Like on the last lap, I knew I had the kid on time, and I made a pass in the pit. I mean, played it safe, but for the first half, it's balls to walls the whole time.
And then so maybe you guys can all answer the same question is I really liked how they mixed everybody. They had qualifying for the UTVs, and they let you go off the start by how you qualified instead of segmenting out each individual group. So that really made it like pretty interesting, if you ask me, because now you have all of the fast guys up front, no matter what kind of vehicle they're driving. So give me your opinion, Mikey, first, then we'll ask Jamie, and then we'll ask Elliot what he thinks about that same thing, because I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool, but then you kind of run into the issue of if someone has a bad qualifying run into the turbo class, and they have to come through more people now. But
like Dustin Jones.
Yeah, if you have a pretty good day in qualifying, it's pretty good. It's pretty cool.
I like Dustin Jones started 69th and worked his way up to third. I don't know if he was third on course, but third uncorrected. Like, that must have been such a gnarly race.
Yeah, definitely is. He came by me hauling ass too, and I'm surprised he did it, honestly.
Yeah, that dude, and yeah, so I guess you're right. Like, so qualifying just makes it that much more important. Did you like that style of start, Jamie?
Yeah, I mean, it's good and bad. I think some, to the racer, you're like, yeah, I want to qualify. I want to go qualify because I want to try to get a better start position. On a business side of it, it's harder because now, and I think even trophy truck guys and stuff would agree, you're spending extra cost, for the program, because now you got to go a day early. You got to make sure you don't tear your car up in qualifying or roll or, crash or whatever. And then you got to, so there's a fine line of, is it a good deal to have qualifying or not a good deal to have qualifying?
Yeah, I guess you're right. But I mean, you're a big moto guy though too. So you would, like, if it was moto, you'd rather have qualifying.
Yeah, but I'm still old school though. I don't have a problem with a draw. I think it's fair. Off-road racing's been like that for years and years and years, and it's always cool to get a good qualifying, and then you start up front with, like you said, with the fast guys, and you're starting where you should be, I guess. But at the same time, it does add another element of, what if I crash? What if I tear the car up? There's all these things that you think about, especially as a a team owner or,
Yep.
Even the driver, Mikey's paying for a lot of his own parts, and Elliot's same. I mean, we all pay for our own stuff kind of, and we're starting to get more and more people helping us with product and all that stuff. But yeah, it's a cool element. I think
Yeah, I like that you're bringing a whole different perspective to it because so I don't know if Elliot's going to agree with me, but I kind of feel like he will. Like coming from dirt bikes and supercross and then to short course racing, like the element of qualifying was basically what gave you the possibility to win. Because if you do good in qualifying and you're at a short course race and the draw isn't that bad, you have the ability to win so much easier. And it felt like to me at Parker that the race actually was a little bit easier if you could take a top 10 start and then manage the race yourself instead of having to come through the pack. So I don't know. I mean, Elliot, you tell me what your opinion is.
I agree with Jamie on the part that you're there a couple extra days earlier, you have more time on the car, and the cost of it just goes up. But I think for UTV's exposure side behind it's cool. Like Caden McCacken went out and qualified first in the first race in Seth's car. The amount of exposure he got behind that was so rad. And it was a bummer he had a little incident in the race, but still just having another set day for UTVs to go out in the race and see really who the fastest guy is in the shortest distance is cool, I think. But I think when they mixed the classes, it was hard for us to keep time splits. I know,
that's a good point.
Yeah, Max Eddy qualified first in the NA class, and he was like 20 cars ahead of Mikey. And there was all these guys that are unlimited cars or pro turbos in between them, so it was hard for us to kind of judge where he was at. Numbers, they do so much, but all the cars look so similar. I think for maybe class ones and trophy trucks and TT spec, it might be a little bit different because there's some sort of variation. But when you have, a turbo razor than a NA razor, like rolling together in the pits, it's kind of hard to differentiate it between the two. But
yeah,
for what Caden did, that was rad. I think that for him, opening the road at to qualify even in the top 10, the amount of less traffic that you have compared to anybody else is really, really a huge factor in this race. So
yeah, I agree. And I think there's both ups and downs, right? Let's just say you're the fastest qualifier in the NA class. Like Max actually had this happen to him in the RS1. He was the fastest qualifier in the NA class, but had to start so far back. There was no way that he could come up and actually battle with the fast guys. So, man, it's hard to judge. But who knows, Jamie? Maybe they'll just do qualifying for some of them and not for the others.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't bummed that they didn't qualify like super stock. I mean, obviously I drew number one start position, but even if I drew 10th, it's a fair way to do it. There's always going to be somebody faster, better, whatever than you are. So it's either way, best that doesn't wants to do it. It's fine with us. The one thing that Elliot brought up as far as where's everybody at. So it just adds another element to, we have to be better at our logistics and take down, wherever the start position, once they had a start position and a starting order done, we should have been better. As a team, we could have been better about knowing where Mikey started, where the other guys in his class were starting, and how much time they were starting ahead of him or behind him. So it's just, again, it's just more work. We just gotta be better at that as a team. But and I think everybody else is in the same boat as us, So,
yeah, but it's pretty close. Some people don't think that far ahead in you guys are doing. So I think that's really cool that you guys are putting the effort in to make sure that you better it for the next time. So, all right, we only got a couple minutes left. So, first of all, I want to say, awesome seeing you guys all at the first race of the year. It was kind of cool to see everybody back at the races and hyped up. But Mikey, what was your favorite part of the whole the race for you guys?
I mean, it was all pretty cool, but coming into the finish line first, and honestly, on the second lap, I thought I'd one more person. And once I got to the finish line, my dad was there. I'm like, "Where's the first car at?" And he's like, "You are the first car." So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. We got one more question for Jamie. Ken Johnson said, "Can you break down how many people are needed on the team for a weekend? Pit support, drivers, logistics, etc." You can turn the phone towards you a little bit, Jamie, so we can see you better.
We don't have enough. We only have, so, I would love to have, all the pits covered. We only had 2 pits covered. We had main pit covered and we had Graham Wells covered. And, thank God Jim Beaver helped us, and his dad took a couple tires midway for us. So we had a good fueling plan and all that. And we had parts where we needed to have parts, but obviously I needed a bunch of CV parts on our car. But,
yeah, exactly.
If I would have had some CV joints, we would have finished too. But
well, let's answer Ken's question with a dream team. I would say probably somewhere around 20 to 25, right? Because you want to have 2 separate pits and a bunch of different people that are at those pits, and obviously backup drivers and stuff.
Well, having 2 cars, you got to almost have 2 pit crews at each pit. So you got to have at least 2 to 3 people per car at a pit. So
right,
a couple guys fueling, a guy looking at the car. So yeah, I would say anywhere from 25 to 30 people, depending on how many pits there is. Vegas Reno is a lot different. Like last year, we did great. We had 2 chase trucks per car, so we had 4 basically chase trucks, and then we had Elliot's dad Tom just kind of cruising in his Raptor in case somebody had an issue, he could go back or forward. So a race like Vegas Reno, even though it's a bigger race, it's easier because it's a point to point, so you're just chasing. So you leapfrog trucks, so it gets real easy there.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we had a bunch of comments come in. Joe Bernal and Nate Pearson both said, congratulations, Team Raceco. Dude, you guys did a really good job, man. I'm so pumped. Hey, tell Jen thanks for the sweater too, buddy.
No problem.
But yeah, it was really good seeing you guys at the races, man. I haven't seen Elliot for a while, and I haven't seen either of you guys for a little while too. So I'm pumped that you guys had a good result. I think that you probably want to get your car a little bit better result next time, but still, dude, kudos to the whole team.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thanks, George.
Yeah, no problem. Well, we're going to get Justin Smith on. I don't know if you guys want to keep watching after this, because 92, 95 miles an hour smacked a cow, dude. I don't know if you guys saw that, but we're going to talk to him about it right now.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I've almost hit plenty of cows in Mexico. It's not a fun deal. So.
Yeah, so we're going to see how he feels.
So
but
one key thing about cows on the race course, a cow will never turn to go back. So if a cow is crossing a race course and you can't stop, aim for its butt.
Yeah,
and you will have a better result. So,
there you go. Pro desert racing tip by Jamie Campbell. Thanks, homie.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you, Elliot. We'll see you, Mikey. Thank you, Jamie.
Yeah. See you guys.
Later.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, so we're gonna get Justin Smith from Shock Therapy on. Such a gnarly deal. I think you got to click on it and click the X. All right. Yeah, so we're gonna get Justin Smith from Shock Therapy on here in just a little bit, and hopefully, those guys we're very, very lucky. I'm glad that those guys have. Yeah, no problem, Jen. It was awesome seeing you guys at the races. We're glad that those guys are safe, obviously, but man, I don't know what you want to say, but the dangers of desert racing, the safety of desert racing, all of those things showed themselves in just one video that those guys got. So I'll actually try to see if I can pull up the video here right now too, while we wait for Justin to come on, and I'll see if I can show it to you guys, because man, was it gnarly. But good on them to be able to come through safe. Very, very safe car as well. Let's see here. So the guys at Shock Therapy, Justin's going to come on right now, so I'll get this video queued up so that we can show it why Justin comes on here. But man, what a scary moment. I'm glad those guys are safe. I can only imagine what the pit crew was thinking during that time. Justin Smith, what's up, buddy?
What's up, George? How you doing, man?
I'm doing very good. We're going to talk about your guys' races. Before we get into the incident, do you mind if I show the video while you're hanging out there for a second?
Send it. That cow needs some more time on video. That's for sure.
I mean, but for anybody that didn't see it, Justin's going about 90 or so miles an hour, 95 miles an hour, and you can see the cow is in the right front of the vehicle, and it really sends them for a wild ride, man. It was no bueno. I can only imagine the violence inside the car at the time. And these GoPros make it look way smoother than it really was, too. So, but holy cow, Justin. First, I want to say kudos to you guys for building such a safe car. Everything that you guys did while you guys were rolling over and having that incident was perfect. Your brother kept his arms in. You kept your hand on the steering wheel. You guys both kept your composure. I couldn't have asked for anything more from a safety standpoint.
Thanks, George. I'll tell you what. I'm not sure if that's a good thing, knowing what to do. That just means that you've been upside down a lot in your life, which I have seen a few rolls before in trucks and class 10s and stuff. So it wasn't my first go around, but my brother was spot on. We didn't have very much in the car for a grab handle for him, so he did the best he could.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. So let's Tarantino this real quick. Let's go back and talk about being at the first Shock Therapy Parker 250 of 2022. How was it, man? Like, the vibes were high.
I agree. I think, first race of the year, everybody's all psyched up, and we're always ready to go for Parker. Like, it seems, even though it's only been a month or two since the last race, it seems like it's been many months. It's like the beginning of the year. It's like opening day of school, right?
Fresh start.
Yeah, and everybody was all about it, and the vibes were awesome. Everybody was excited. We were also excited just to be part of the race from a sponsor standpoint, to help and work with Best in the Desert. They were amazing. I can't. There's so many details that I could go over on how they killed it, but I'll just say that they were awesome, and we'll work with them again no matter what. But the race itself is normally exciting, but to be part of the sponsorship makes it even more so.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Everybody talked to was really into it. So
yeah, super into it. And then just being at the race, like you said, it's kind of like a fresh start, right? Like, everybody gets like ready to go. The season's starting. Like, everybody has high expectations. I think that does two things, right? I think that it really ups the vibe of the whole races, gets the season kicked off strong. But I think it has adverse effects too, because a lot of people broke. A lot of people went out a little too hard. A lot of people thought that their cars were prepared, and they may not have been. Like, there was a lot of different things that happened. And unfortunately, in your case, like, you guys were driving fine, and something just insane happened. But when you have that high of a vibe, there's a lot of other things that can happen. So from a safety standpoint, and seeing people without a cow, like, I just want to make sure that everybody's going out there, and crossing the finish line as good as possible.
You're not wrong. First race of the year, everybody's wound up, and usually, they send it too early. There's a lot of mistakes made, a lot of guys that are out early. But I don't think anybody's going to fix that. That's just nerves and excitement. But as long as cars are safe and they've got the equipment, they follow the rules, then hopefully they are all here the day after they hit cows, just like us.
Yeah, I'm so glad you guys are. Hey, we got a question that came in that actually relates. I don't know. I kind of feel like it relates to me a little bit. Thigh Rhino actually said, "Do you have any racers in Tucson, Arizona?" Well, he used to have one with this guy right here, because I used to live down in Tucson, man. But I don't know. Do you have any other guys that you help support down in Tucson right now? I know you have done suspension for Cody Sanders, who used to live in Tucson as well.
Yeah, we got a couple guys down in Tucson, but the right guy to ask would be Matt Burke. He's in charge of all the race sponsorship and also with dealer programs. So unfortunately, I wouldn't have that info for you, but every once in a while, I see the guys come through and we get to chatting about where they're from. And I know we've got a couple, that's for sure. But,
yeah, exactly.
Honestly, we do a lot of product, but we don't do much for shock work because it takes a lot of time. We're really busy. So we kind of concentrate on maybe 5 guys when it comes to shock work in off-road.
Yeah, exactly. The Desert Squadron guys put a really good comment in here. It says, get out to an AZOP race and check out the local scene to start getting into the mix. Yeah, perfect. That's a great way of doing it. All right, Justin. So you and your co-driver, your brother Jason, went out, and you guys had high expectations. What was the vibe on the starting line?
Man, we were all wound up and super excited, not only because of the vibe from everybody else, but we qualified 7th, and that's a record for us. I can't qualify, man. I don't have the nuts that these guys do. They just send it. I'd rather not be the guy that rolls a car in qualifying and show up to the race and do okay. That's kind of our mentality. So a top 10 is kind of our goal in qualifying. But 7th was great, and we knew that it was going to be a fast race. We knew the second half of this race that we haven't seen before. or haven't seen in a long time, unless you're in a truck for the 425, is a lot of graded floored stuff. So we did some work with clutching to make sure that we didn't have any temps at 90 or 100 miles an hour. And off the line, we just ran our normal race. Honestly, we just kind of ran our normal pace, and it turned out to be good enough. The first lap, excuse me, we had one problem, and we did lose a belt, which was kind of a freaky thing because the belt was at 180 degrees when it went. So not sure what that was. Maybe a issue with just one belt, unlucky. But
Yeah.
we threw a belt in it, burned about 6 or 7 minutes. And when we got to the start finish after the first lap, we were only 8 minutes behind Phil.
Wow.
So we knew that we had the pace. So on the second lap, we tried to turn it up and catch him, and the power steering failed.
Oh.
So we, had to drive from race mile 20 on with no power steering, and it just slowed us down. But
yeah, that's a lot of arm pump too. For anybody that hasn't done that, man, you got to Popeye that bad boy. We got a real quick one. I want to give a shout out. They said hello from Rescue 34, the retrieval that towed you off course. So first of all, thank
those
you.
guys. Let me tell you, those guys are badass. They showed up in a Raptor and drove that thing right through every desert tree and pinstriped the crap out of that Raptor. I was trying to knock bushes down so that they didn't screw up their truck. He's like, don't worry about it. It's already messed up. We're out of here.
Oh, dude, great. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But without those guys, so I was actually going to say this, but this is a perfect time to say it. We actually have a safety episode next week with the guys from Motorsport Safety Solutions, Dave Nebres, and we're probably going to try to see if we can get a couple other guys on to join us with that safety episode. So perfect timing to hit a cow, dude. Jesus.
Yeah, not to change the subject very much, but we thought we had second when we hit the cow. We were super excited about that. That subject's over. From here out, I just want to thank everybody that's been sending us, comments and texts and emails and everything about being okay in the crash. Really appreciate all you guys' kind thoughts. We're excited to be around the day after as well.
Yeah,
trust me,
100%. So,
and tomorrow you're talking about safety, George.
Yep.
Tomorrow we're doing a live feed at the shop. We're going to be around the car. We have not touched the car on purpose. All we've done is wipe the dust off of it, and we're going to go over the whole car, 360 all the way around it, and we're going to talk about all the safety that's in this thing that kept us alive. Just a few things: Sean Geiser chassis, cage, and PRP seats and belts. But we're going to get into all the other details tomorrow.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'm stoked. I'll definitely be tuning into that because that sounds like an awesome show. So a couple questions that had come through, and I'm not going to dwell on the fact that the cow is no longer with us, but what happens in a situation like that? Because we lived out in the country for my whole life, and when a cow loses its life, whether it's from an automobile or any type of racing accident, whatever it is, the rancher comes out and tries to salvage the cow. And then, so if they can, then they just get it off and they go use the meat and do whatever they can. In this instance, what was your guys' procedure when you were out there? Obviously, you do yourself first, but
yeah. So we the cow was obviously a goner, and it was covering the race course, and that portion of the race course had 2-foot ledges on each side in a single lane. So the cow was about 700 or 800 pounds. I'll get into that in a second, how we know that. But that thing was covering the course, and my brother's waving cars by with, triangles and everything. And it was getting out of control where people still might have accidents because the first guy would choke up for the cow, and the guy in his dust didn't know why he was choking up or stopping. And so we had a couple of people that were really close there. So we kind of switched gears into getting everything situated and decided to get the cow off. That was hard. Dominic, who flies for us, and Josh, who videos in the helicopter, landed to check on us because obviously it's a big wad up. And so all four of us, me, my brother, Dom, and Josh, tried to drag that thing off the course. It took all four of us. Dom was holding on to its tail, and all three of us had a ratchet strap to its rear hoofs in a tug of war, 3 people on a ratchet strap, trying to drag it, and we couldn't get it over the embankment. So we grabbed all our tools and dug the embankment out, and then ended up doing one half at a time and got it off the course. But that sucker didn't know what happened.
Yeah.
It was lights out. There was no suffering on the cow. It had zero knowledge of what happened. It was just a light switch. So too bad for the cow and us, but I guess, bad luck happens.
Yeah, it just is. It's crazy. I mean, like, you get struck by lightning. We already know just bad stuff happens sometimes. But, man, that's a crazy story, and I didn't know that. And so kudos to you guys for doing that, because a lot of racers would just let it go and just sit there and wait, right, and just have everybody go around. But you're looking out for not just your best interest, but for everybody's best interest that's on the course. I mean, that's a pretty hefty task. Well, excuse my language, but like a hefty task to be able to pull that thing off the track and to keep the race going. Man, that's freaking sweet that you guys did that.
Well, it was very obvious after a couple of guys almost hit each other coming into it. It was a floored section, and you got people trying to pass each other or catch each other in the dust. They don't know why that guy's checking up.
Right.
Not at all. They just think they're going to be able to get by him, and it would suck if somebody tried to pass the car in front of them, because the car in front of them was slowing down for a dead cow.
Yeah, 100%.
And you got my brother in the road too. So it was obvious we had to do something about it. We had discussions about, because we could barely move the cow. We had discussions about roping that sucker to the helicopter and lifting the thing up.
I thought that's what you were going to say. I was like, dude,
we talked about it. we definitely talked about it, man. But we thought we'd get into massive trouble with that. I don't know why. But we did our best. We drug it off, and it worked out. You
could have really gotten in a lot of trouble if you do that. I mean, like, ranchers consider all that stuff private, man. So who knows what would have happened. But so let's talk a little bit about the safety of the vehicle, because I think you guys are going to talk about it tomorrow. So I don't want to take away too much of the content from what you guys are going to do. But the car kept you guys safe. When we just showed that video just a second ago, I've watched that thing probably 5 times now, and good God, did you guys scare the crap out of me. Like, if I was your mom, I would have started crying, right? Like, it was one of those things where I was like hoping that the roll would stop, and I couldn't imagine what you guys were feeling in the car after such a surprising experience.
So it's hard to describe, but I'll tell you this. There was nothing we could have done, like to turn around or try and miss the cow. It was all I could do to go for brakes, and I didn't even hit those. It was that fast.
Yeah.
And so we went for a ride after that, and there's nothing you can do once you're in the air, right? But once we hit the first time, that's when the nasty whip started, and you knew, both of us knew this wasn't going to end in a while. And then we hit the second time, but after the second time, everything got quiet, and nothing hurt. So we both thought it was over. But what was going on is we were in the air flipping around and not touching the ground.
Yep, exactly.
And all of a sudden, whoop, bam, and there's another whip, and then here it goes again for another 2 or 3 times. So after we were done, we walked off the distance between the car where it stopped and where we hit the cow, and it was 125 of my 6'2", 240-pound paces.
Holy smokes. So that's...
I think that's somewhere between 300 or 400 feet.
Yeah, exactly.
That's longer than a football field by far.
That's exactly what I was going to say. And to go that fast, I mean, 90 plus miles an hour, to go that far, it's crazy. Cody Sanders just said, goes to show that it's not winning that's the number one priority in Shock Therapy's program is safety. And I will agree 100% with that, but I will also say that winning is very high on their list as well. So
safety first and then winning at all costs.
Yeah, exactly. But every time I watch that video, it scares the shit out of me. But I really, I can't commend you enough on the way that you guys handled the situation. And I didn't even know about trying to get the cow off the course and stuff. When you were driving home or you were talking with the team, what are some of the things that you talk about to make the situation or better yourself for the next time?
Well, I don't think you can prepare for the cow. I mean, that's, it's bad luck. 3 seconds before it, we wouldn't have hit it. And 5 seconds after that, we wouldn't have hit it.
Right.
But you do have to prepare for a wreck. It doesn't matter how you get into one. If you're upside down or sideways or whatever it is, you better make sure you got the right safety equipment. You better make sure the car is built right. And that's why I'm kind of a fan of full tilt race car builds when it comes to strength and chassis, because this is what you can run into. And you need to have everything according to the rules. Don't ever cheat it.
Don't.
You know, the Alan over at Best in the Desert does an amazing job making sure everybody knows why those rules are in place. And you just don't know the reason for all the things they ask for until you're upside down at 90. And, you know, they've been there, they've seen it. So just do what they say. Don't argue. And everybody will be better off for it. And as far as our team is concerned, there was nothing that they could do. They were on it, man. They were trying to get everybody out to us as best they could. Nobody was panicking. They were just calm and collected on the radio, and that's the best you can hope for when you can't send someone there and you can't control it.
Right, and I want to say that not just the way that you guys handled yourselves in the vehicle, but the way that you guys handled yourself with communicating with the team and doing all that stuff. Like, I mean, really, there couldn't have been any better way to deal with the situation. So, again, kudos to you guys for being so professional and calm during this situation. I mean, you even, I don't know who it was, whether it was your brother or you were talking, and you said, don't get out yet. Let me get out so I don't fall on top of you. You know, those types of things, those are all meaningful in those situations because, well, it's like if you have a fire or something, right? You don't go running around like a loose cannon and shaking your head off. You stay calm and you can get out of the situation. And you guys did that very, very well. So I think there's a lot to be learned from just watching the video that you guys shared. So thank you for sharing that with the public. And then I think there's going to be a lot to be learned tomorrow when you guys discuss all of the ins and outs on your live feed as well.
Thank you. We felt like, number one, the video might be a little bit entertaining, and also it would be informative. And hopefully, you know, people can learn from it, because if they're in that situation, it's hard. It's hard to ever remember what to do. You know, it's split second stuff. So it needs to be second nature to hold your arms in. It needs to be second nature to get out of the car quickly, because you don't know if you have a leak or something like that. So everybody should just think about it a lot in advance. You know, going fast is only half of the race prep. You need to make sure you're good on all the other stuff too.
Yeah, and I would even say that going fast is secondary to being safe first. And then Andy Jeremio asked, is it normal for cows to be in or around the racetrack?
Yeah, it is.
In Mexico, in Mexico, they don't have them chained up.
We've kissed a few in Mexico. I've never hit one hard enough to ruin the car. But, you know, in Best in the Desert or anything north of the border, it's a little rare. But in Parker, it's free range, and the rancher is part of the race program. But he can't catch all the cows and put them away.
Yeah, it's impossible.
A lot of people asked us, you know, who has to pay for that. So I'll tell you that Best in the Desert pays for it. And the way it goes is they have a meeting with the rancher and they discuss the current price of beef, and that's what they pay.
Yep, exactly.
So just so you guys know that's what's up. But we called Brian Folks and told him that we'd take care of the cow. It's the least I can do after, you know, ending its life.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, and I can agree with that too. Like if you're just on a side road, like out in the middle of nowhere where I used to live in Arizona, unfortunately my dad hit a cow once too, and we were going to have to pay for the cow. Our insurance was in the automobile, but they gutted it right there and they saved the meat, so they got it out of there. But you got to remember that this is a rancher's business. It's like going in and stealing some of his products. So for what Justin did is like the perfect situation. Like that's really, really a good thing for him to do.
You know what, George? We got one piece of the cow. We got a horn. and here's how we got the horn. So after the car was done rolling and my brother's running back to the cow to try and get all the race cars to not hit it, I was kind of, you know, going through the yard sale of parts between the cow and the car, and about 30 feet from the car was this horn, and I'm like, there's just no way this horn's in the middle of the desert right where we landed, right? So I picked it up and start walking back over to the cow. And my brother turns around and he kicks the cow right in the horn, and like, stupid cow, you know, he's pissed off, right? He kicks it in the horn, and the horn goes wiggle, 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 wiggle. It
like
wasn't hard because I had the actual outside of the horn in my hand from that cow that followed the car 350 feet.
Oh, wow, man. Well, you got a souvenir now. Hey, so SC4 Life, or SE4 Life actually asked this question. Justin's going to get into this answer a little bit more, but yeah, in a case like what happens there, you don't save those chassis, you don't save those parts, because those parts are too used or too broken for the vehicle to be able to continue on, and you don't want to have a weak part on the race car for the next race or whatever it is. So Justin will get into it a little bit more tomorrow on his live feed. So definitely check that out, and he'll be able to show you guys everything that happened with the chassis, with the front end, everything like that. So,
and like I said, we left it together so you guys can see exactly what happened.
that's so cool that you guys are doing that, man. I appreciate you sharing all of this stuff, dude. It's a lot of times this is hard, man. This is really hard. I mean, like, you're a racer that wants to go out there and win. You don't want to show weakness, but you're showing the actual reality of stuff that happens on course, man. I appreciate you doing that for all of us.
Hey, man, crashing sucks, but you know what? Eventually, if you do this stuff long enough, it's going to happen, no matter who you are. So everybody should try and prepare for it. It's no joke. We're lucky to be here. And I'm going to attribute a lot of that to the safety we have in the car and the chassis that we have from Geyser. And to be honest, the chassis is in great shape. But you'll see that stuff tomorrow. And we're just excited to be able to race another day.
Yeah, exactly. Diesel Dog said, yeah, it's like a helmet. The first bass is the last. Yeah, usually that's what it is, man. Like in racing, and when you have a high-level racing program like Justin does, you don't want to take any chances for the next race. You want to make sure that the safety is good, and you want to make sure that the car can last as long as it can, going as fast as it can. How long to build another car, Justin?
You know, it'll probably take us about 2 months to do another one. We do have another chassis ready to go, but there's a lot of stuff that's all custom on that car. Every bracket, tab, and aluminum panel and radiator mount and everything else it takes a long time. It doesn't matter if you have 2 or 3 fabricators on it at once. It really doesn't. 2 months is about as fast as we could do it. So we will be running a car in the Pro Stock class. Cool. At the next race. Ernie and Mitch are going to switch cars and get into that stock car. And then we're going to take our rally car, which is our pre-runner, and we're going to run it in the Pro Turbo class for Laughlin. So that we have something to run. It's going to be horribly underpowered and overweight, but at least we have something to race. So we'll see how far back we place, but at least we're there.
Dude, you never know, man. Sometimes you can really do well in those things because you can go just as fast as the car can go, and who knows, maybe it'll hold up better. You know, never know.
It'll probably be there'll be no brakes. It's going to be pinned. Trust me, it's going to need it.
It's like when you go to those go-kart tracks and you can just mat the throttle.
It's like running an NA car. Literally, if you ever lift, it's too slow. So it's going to be 100% pinned. I guarantee that.
So we got 4 minutes left before we let you go, Justin. So maybe give us a little bit of an understanding of all of the outpouring of caringness, what the track workers had to do, and kind of after the situation. Tell us what happened.
You know, it was it's hard to describe how cool everyone is because first it started off with the course workers. Those guys were badass and they live the racing. They're volunteers and they love every bit of it. And you can feel it when you talk to those guys.
Yep.
And then literally like an hour later, everybody at Best in the Desert, from Brian Folks down to Alan and everybody in the tech area, were calling just to make sure we were okay. And that night and the next day, it was solid. Glad to see you're okay. Could have been worse. And texts from everybody that knows me was literally my whole day today and Sunday. So the outreach and feelings from everybody, making sure we're good, is unbelievable. This racing family that we're all in as fellow racers against each other and competitive on the course is just as loving off of it and concerned and compassionate too. It's unbelievable to see it. You have to go through a crash like this to understand how badass everybody is. So
dude, I couldn't agree more with that, man. Yeah. I don't ever want anybody to have to live through that like you and I both have, but man, it is true. That's a very, very true statement. When you, let me ask you this. How do you feel today? How does your brother feel today?
I haven't talked to my brother today, so we need to ask him, but I am actually awesome. I've been in some rollovers where I was, wiped out or had what you find out after a nasty roll is like 2 days later, you find out the elbow that hit the wrong tube.
Yep. Or
you find out your knee smacked the dash, and now you really are sore in those specific, pain points. But I'm no different than a normal race right now. My shoulders are sore from driving with no power steering.
Yep.
But that's it. Everything worked. It did its job. I see my brother just said he's fine. So it's unbelievable what that chassis put up with. There's not even a bend in the cage. And the roof panel is caved in, but the cage didn't even move. So, and the rest of the car didn't seem to move much either. So the safety is awesome in this class, and the workmanship is killer from Geyser. And all of our seats and belts we'll go over tomorrow too and show you exactly what we have. But you guys need to make sure you got the right parts for this stuff, because you never know when it's going to happen.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I'm so glad that you guys are safe, man. Like I said, it was scary to see it, but after I text you and you text me back, I was like, man, thank goodness. And I can only imagine what everybody else on your team and the crew and everybody was thinking when they were going through all that. But like I said, man, you guys handled it with a lot of professionalism. You guys did everything right in my book.
If there was another car next to it, we would have hopped in it and finished the race. And
that's crazy.
For sure.
That's so cool, man. Well, thank you very much for sharing. So go check out the Shock Therapy USA live feed tomorrow when Justin goes over all that. I know I'm definitely going to tune in and check it out. So like I said, dude, it's very hard for people to share these kinds of things when they're racers, because they always want to go out there and win. They don't want to admit defeat, but these things are very, very important, and we appreciate you opening up your life and your race program to help us learn.
Hey, if we don't tell anybody, hopefully, if we don't tell anybody, maybe nobody will. That's why we have an open book. If you guys ever ask something, we'll tell you. And hopefully everybody can learn.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Actually, let me get Wes Leffler actually said, hey, Justin, it's Wes from the Romos. Glad you guys are good. We came up on you right after it happened. We were worried, but you waved us on. So, man.
Yeah, the Romos are a badass team. Congratulations to them. They did great.
Yeah, they did do great. All right. Well, thank you, Jason, for joining in and commenting in, too. Justin, it's always good talking to you. Glad you guys are safe, buddy. We'll tune in tomorrow.
Take it easy, George. See ya.
Later, man. Dude, it's so crazy to hear all that stuff. We're going to get Phil Blurton on next. He'll be our next guest to come on and hang out with us. That was a very interesting conversation, to say the least. To me, it kind of gets me choked up a little bit, right? Because I'm such good friends with Justin, the whole team. I want to make sure that they're all good. And to see that stuff happen really just gets to me. But it gives me a little bit of peace of mind, understanding that that they know what they're doing. They know exactly what the procedure is when they're in an incident like that, or what needs to happen to make sure that you get everything taken care of. I mean, like all that stuff. It's really, really cool to make sure that if you guys have the opportunity to learn from this situation, because Justin is a very, very good example of what it is to have a good professional race team. So hopefully you guys can take that and run with it too. Phil Blurton, what's up, homie?
Yo.
How are you, dude? Winner, chicken dinner.
Yep. I feel like I should have gone before Justin. I'm not sure I can top all those stories he had.
Dude, they were pretty gnarly, right? Well, I had to get Justin on at a certain time because he's in Arizona, so he's a little bit ahead of us. So I did want to have him last, but hey, it is what it is. So let's just finish that up, because I want to kind of close it out with you. You ended up winning the race, so congratulations to you for that. But when you look back on the things that happened to other drivers, like what happened to Justin, what does that do to you in your race program to make you a better team next race?
Oh man, I think I raced so much. I guess over my life, I know the danger that's involved in it.
Hey,
So
can you go a little bit somewhere else so you can get a little bit better signal? Let's try that. Can you try to answer that same question again for us?
I got like some crazy noise in the background. I don't know if it's coming from your end.
That's way better. So I don't know if you can sit down right there, but yeah, thank you.
I don't know. I guess, I've raced and crashed a bunch of stuff and kind of know the danger of it. So, me and Bo, we always show up with safe gear and a safe car and everything to race.
Yeah. So I guess it just goes back up to what Justin was saying, just making sure that you're prepared and you're safe. All right. So let's switch gears then. Going into this race, you had a fantastic 2021. We've talked to you a bunch. So congratulations on last year. But going into this race, did you guys kind of keep the ball rolling in the same way that you guys had before, or was it a little bit different preparation, new year, new vision? Like, what was your guys' vibe?
It was a little bit. It just kind of like roller coastered right into this race. Seemed like we had just finished the Mint 400. Then we went through all the holidays and took a little bit of time off, not much. We typically like always have the car 100% prepped before we show up.
Yep.
But we actually met Fox in Johnson Valley on Wednesday, which is something we would never do before a race.
That's pretty crazy.
We did all of our shock testing with all of our parts in there still left over from the mint. And got like a really good shock package for this course. I'm kind of guessing because we'd never run the long course before, not knowing what we were up for.
And backwards.
But we figured if we ran those parts, they were still good. We could like push hard in qualifying. And then we had a bunch of fresh parts. And Bo and I spent all day. I think we finished the car at like 4:00 on Friday before contingency was over, and then jammed down and teched the car. And we did like our normal prep that we normally do at like 4 days at the shop. We did in 1 day out in the dirt at the racetrack.
Yeah, don't make the team expect that can happen every race, man.
Yeah. But that was our plan going into it. And, just everything going on with all the COVID stuff and Fox and Mike Kim came out and met us. He had to get COVID tested before.
Oh, crap.
And, he didn't get out there until like 3:30 in the afternoon, and we literally had lights set up and we shock tuned well into the dark and then drove out to Parker Wednesday night.
Dude, that's so crazy. Man, you guys are really, really taking this racing stuff seriously. I appreciate the dedication, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So obviously the vibes were still high, though. I mean, you guys had such a great year, and then you're moving all this stuff into Parker. Did you how do I say this? Because like when we went to Anaheim 1, for the Supercross races, everybody thought they were the best guys, right? But everybody still in their mind are thinking, whoa, I don't know what the other guys are doing. Like, are they going to come out stronger? Are they going to come out faster? Like, what are they going to do? Like, did you guys have any of those feelings when you saw everybody else? Like, who's here? What's going on? New year.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the only thing was this was different because we qualified this race, which we did at Vegas to Reno, but we still started in the classes, in our separate classes, Yep. This was the first time Best in the Desert mixed, turbos, unlimiteds or trophy unlimiteds, NAs and everything. There's a couple names we didn't know in there. But I mean, I guess we're in these cars so much, we kind of know what the UTV is capable of and the progression that everybody's making on them. And so I felt like we still had a front running car in there. Caden came out and just laid down a heater in qualifying, which was cool.
Yeah.
In a borrowed car, so you got to give him credit for that.
100%.
Bruce is always wide open in qualifying. We battled Caden a bunch in Mexico this last year, racing the score stuff in Brandon Schuler's car, so we knew he was quick. Really, when we took off the starting line, though, we knew that course was going to be a belt killer for people. I think like our fastest average ever was a 52 mile an hour average in a Silver State race. And I think that we were like 61 mile an hour average at this race. Like we've never seen. It was, even though it was 250 miles and it was a really easy course, it was like I had to be laser focused the whole time because the mile per hour was so quick the whole entire day.
Yeah, dude. That and then Bo's job was probably even crazier because he had to be so much further ahead than he normally is with that average pace. Yeah, and you're not the first person that said that. Like Vito Ranuio, he was saying that it was so fast too, and obviously Caden can haul the mail too.
Yeah, it was fun though. I like running that big course. Normally Parker, it's like we go up that wash, Osborne Wash or whatever it is. And then, the second lap, we start chuckling. Then the third lap, we're like, oh my gosh, this chatter is getting so bad. And, we ran the course backwards this year. So it made that whole wash like so much easier going downhill. And then only running 2 laps, it didn't get near as beat up. So it was like a pretty uneventful, fast day for us.
What's the reason that it makes the belt temperatures go a lot higher? Is it because the speed or because the drag on the car going through a lot of that sand and stuff?
I mean, I don't know. In the Can-Ams, I would say, we can run them as hard as we want in the washes. Like, if it's low speed, 40 mile an hour stuff, wide open throttle, we don't worry about belt temps. It's really like the high speed stuff. Like, once you start getting 100 mile an hour range or above, you need to kind of start monitoring it. But we ran. I mean, I saw 103 miles an hour multiple times throughout the day.
Dude, that's insane. It probably felt good to get going that fast, huh?
Yeah, no, it's fun. It's fun.
We got a comment from Vito. He says, "I'm gunning for you, Blurton."
Oh man, I joke. Vito's one of the coolest people I've met, but I brought him to Mexico for the 1,000 with me as a backup driver, and now all of a sudden I'm battling him in all these races. I'm like, should I have brought this guy to Mexico with me?
That's what you get, dude.
Yeah. Vito's guys actually, I got a flat coming into main pit on the first lap, and I just drove it into the pit. And I was kind of limited pit crew at this race, and Vito was pitted with us. His guys actually fueled me on the first lap.
Oh, nice. That's cool. Teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah.
So what was the plan then? Because you didn't start first. Obviously, Caden did. Where did you guys start?
Third.
Third. So what was the plan? Just get through the pack as quickly as possible and then avoid the dust?
I mean, I guess, Bruce is always, he goes hard always, so I just let him run his race. Caden's got a lot of experience down in Mexico with us this year, but he was in a new car, and we started 1 minute apart, which was nice. We normally always start 30 seconds apart. So it was kind of just let those guys run their own race and we do ours. And we figured if they made a mistake, we'd get by them. And, the mile per hour is so fast. It was like, for front running guys, it would be a hard course to actually like run somebody down and pass them physically. So we're like, let's just wait and see if we can get them in a pit or a flat tire or a belt. And, Bruce was pulled over at maybe like mile 20. We got past Caden changing a belt, I don't know, right after the midway pit. So that was kind of our plan, was just to wait and see what happened to those guys.
Yeah, and even if they didn't, let's just say nobody had any issues and they were always in front of you, you just have to make up 1 second anyways. So as long as you had 59 seconds between the gap between those guys, then you would have had the overall. So that's probably a pretty good strategy, especially with how hard out the gate everybody was coming.
Yeah, this race is hard too, because like now that we're not on the Indian reservation anymore, where we had good cell phone service. Now we're out off Shea Road, and there's like zero cell phone service out there. And so normally my wife and my mom are always at home. My mom comes to my house every race with my wife, and they sit there and they track and they give all the pit crew information. We didn't have like great time splits on anything, and I only had 2 chase trucks at this race, and there was 4 pits. So like Bo and I, we didn't really know our time splits all day. So we kind of base our pace once we get in the lead off of everybody behind us.
Yeah.
We didn't know, we knew Vito was like 2.5 minutes off us on the first lap. And it was just like, well, I guess since we don't know, we're just going to go hard the whole entire day.
Dude, that's so crazy though. I still think, you and I have talked about this a bunch, but I still think it's so nuts that UTVs can do that now. It's like literally a sprint right from the start. Like, it's so crazy to me to think that.
Yeah. It makes it fun though. It's like, that's what we do, is we just drive them nonstop. So we know how hard we can drive them. And
yeah,
it's
exactly.
Fun to see, like from the first time, Parker was my very first pro race in a UTV ever. And now it's like, we've either like won Parker or had horrible days there. So that track is kind of like, I think we've won 3 of them now, and 2 of them we've had like just crazy failures at. So it's always fun to go back to Parker, because it brings back the memories of our first race.
Yeah, well, not to mention the first race, you go balls to the wall every time, right?
And plus, you got to get back to the motorhome to watch Anaheim. So that's the goal all day when you're racing. You're like, we got to get back to the motorhome so we can watch Anaheim 1.
Dude, that's so cool. Did you like Supercross? Did you think it was good? Because those guys were on it, dude. Like, on it.
Yeah, no, it was good. Like, that was always like me and my dad, we always flew down and watched Anaheim 1 every year, and now it's like we miss the race because we're out at Parker, which is worth it, but it's fun to be able to go back and watch it.
Yeah, luckily we got to be able to go sit in the stands and check it out, so it was pretty fun to go back to the Supercross races. I couldn't believe how many people wadded up. Colt Nichols broke both his arms. Carson Brown took a handlebar to the mouth, knocked out all his teeth. One of the track workers got a piece of his tooth off the track and gave it back to him.
Oh, jeez.
So, like, when we're talking about safety, I'm glad that the UTVs are a little bit safer than that. All right, so maybe give us a little bit of a rundown of how you guys were doing on course, because I know I like to know these things. Like, if I'm not sitting in the car, what does it feel like when you're going 90 miles an hour and you got Bo Judge sitting next to you telling you where to go?
Oh, man, it was fun. You think like when you run a course backwards, you think it might possibly suck because the course has always been run the other way and you're going to get a bunch of square edge stuff, or, the whoops aren't going to be formed the right direction. But really the course flowed a lot better going in the reverse direction.
I thought it would, yeah.
And I don't know. We don't, we live so far away. A lot of people go down there and play before the race, even though they don't know exactly where the course is, but they got a pretty good idea. But that's like a 12-hour drive for us. So we never, we go to Parker once a year for that one. But yeah, all in all, it's a super fun course out there. It was just, we ran the new P drive that Can-Am came out with this year. And that was the first time we'd raced with that new clutch system in there. And we kind of guessed, thinking like the shock package, that the course was going to be rough, like a typical Parker race. And it turned out to be like super fast rally roads.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it worked out good. There was one section in one of the washes, like leaving, I don't know what it was, maybe pit 3. We actually like missed a corner and it wasn't really marked. It was obviously on the GPS, but it wasn't marked well on the course and had to turn around and come back.
Oh,
we were
crap.
Like, only bikes had gone through. So there wasn't like a burned in line.
So it took a little bit. Wes Leffler actually asked, are you willing to give up your top speed and tell the audience how fast you got going?
I think 103 was our fastest for the day. Like we've done 105 in the car before. We did 105 at the Mint across the lake bed when it's like really hard packed, but it was 103 for this race.
Dude, that's crazy. I still think that's so fast in a UTV. How does it feel going that fast in a UTV?
Man, I think once you get like above the 90 mile per hour mark, it's just becomes a number at that point. But I guess if I would have known the option that there was cows jumping out in front of me, it probably would have been a little more nerve wracking. I don't know if I didn't see Vito's interview, but I don't know if he said he told me after the race that he saw the cow's tail through the bushes.
Yep, he totally said that. That's so crazy, man. Well, first of all, I'm glad that there wasn't a perfect scenario, right? Like for a bad situation. Justin did a fantastic job with it. But going 103 miles an hour. What was the top speed last year?
Oh, I don't know. Definitely not. I don't.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was like 10 less than that or something, right? Like not 100.
Yeah. I know at Parker 2 years ago we broke 100 miles an hour and it was on the pavement. On the pavement coming into the finish line along the river there,
Yeah, exactly. Dude, those speeds are so fast, but it's cool to see that the UTV, racing culture can actually go that fast and how qualified the drivers are like yourself. So when you guys are going during the race, did there anything weird or any idiosyncrasies happen? Did you get any flats? Did you get any other things happen? Or are you guys just basically out there doing your thing?
Really just that one flat, and we've been getting really good fuel mileage in this new car, and we had a plan for a fuel strategy that, I think the issue was we raced so much in Mexico this year and the speed's a lot slower down there.
Yep.
It feels like you're going faster in Mexico because it's so rough, but so we kind of based our strategy off this fuel mileage we've been getting in Mexico, and then all of a sudden this race was so fast paced, we're like, oh man, we need an extra fuel stop. So
yeah, exactly.
That was the only hiccup, and we had fuel at all the pits planned, but we planned on taking one fuel stop. We ended up taking 2, but really it was like, normally we're going through microfibers throughout the day and wiping nonstop. And this race, like, I think I used a microfiber 2 times, and that was just when I nosed the car into a big roller on my own. It was dirt coming off my own front skid plate.
Oh, you got the wave coming over?
Yeah. Otherwise, like it was only 2 lappers. We caught 2 like sportsman lappers on the last lap, and we got out of the car and we're perfectly clean and no dust. And
dude, 4 hours to go 250 miles. Like that is so fast, dude.
Yeah. It was cool. I put an amber lens on. Bo's like, oh, you're going to want the amber because the sun's going to be going down. I'm like, oh, we always finish Parker in the dark, and then all of a sudden we're like 20 miles from the finish. I'm like, oh man, the sun's still up right now.
Dude, that's crazy, right? And it's just because they probably ran the track backwards, because the lap times would have been way slower if they ran it forward.
And the long course, the long course made a big difference because we're not coming into normally when we run 4 laps on the short course, on lap 3, we'd be coming into lap traffic. We'd have 2 laps of lap traffic. When I caught the first lapper, I'm just going I knew I had a big gap from me to second place physically. And you're always in your head, you're thinking we're going to catch lappers and nobody else is going to have to deal with them. We're going to lose time. You start stressing out, but luckily, we just went through those guys quick.
Yeah, exactly. We had a question come in when Jamie Campbell was on from Raceco, and they asked how many people would it take to have a pit crew for a race like this. It was from Ken Johnson. What do you usually have in your pit crew to make sure that you have a sufficient amount of bodies on course?
way more than I did for this race.
It would have been better to have way more.
Yeah, this race I had 4 pit crew members. I had 4 guys and I had 2 trucks. I had a truck. I had 1 truck at main pit and I had 1 truck at the midway pit. Luckily, Logan Gustel, he raced Can-Am and he came back this race. I actually asked him. I said, hey, he helped me in Mexico a bunch. I said, will you come back and help me at this race? And he's like, oh, I'm going to take my pre-runner and race the super stock class.
Nice.
So Logan came out, raced the super stock class, and he brought 2 trucks. So we split up between the 2 of us. But we ran different radio frequencies. So I had trucks there with some parts in them, but I didn't have radio communication with those other 2 pits.
Dude, that's crazy. Well, I mean, a skeleton crew, I guess, as long as they're good guys, right?
Yeah, we've just been racing so much, just back to back to back. It's even though this was a new, fresh year, it's just we got King of the Hammers coming up, and King of the Hammers, I'm like demanding on having a bunch of my pit crew guys there. So most of my pit crew is volunteers. So, and you know, they're taking time off work. So I have to kind of pick and choose the races that I want to ask them to get time off work and come out and help us.
You got to have them save their PTO for just one race, and it's KOH, right?
Yeah, I'm like, all right, which races do I need the most help at, you know?
Oh, that's funny. That does talk a lot about the camaraderie, though, and everybody in the off-road community willing to help each other out. Well, dude, I'm pumped for you. What was your favorite part of the whole weekend?
Oh, I got you crossing the line first, always, right? You know, Best in the Desert, the cool thing this year is our entry fees went up, but Best in the Desert actually has like a good payout this year.
We saw it.
Cool, you know?
What I saw it was for the NA class. It was like $11,000. Like, what'd you end up getting?
16.5 was the turbo class payout.
That's good, man.
Yeah.
Congratulations to you and for Best in the Desert for putting that out, man. That gives a lot more. I don't know. You want to win those races a lot more when you got a check that you can look at that big.
Yeah, I was a little nervous because, you know, you have a lot of people that are going out there just to have fun, and you have people that are taking it serious and just different levels of racing. And with the entry fees going up, I didn't know if it would like drop the amount of entries, but I talked to Best in the Desert. They said they didn't really have any complaints on it. Everybody was stoked. So it's cool, you know, and then they're going to do that whole CBS sports thing where they're going to actually get some TV time and start getting some more exposure. So I think, you know, it's hard. All these, all the promoters are in like crazy competition right now. It seems like, I don't know. It seems like the promoters used to be, you know, like kind of working around each other's dates and everything. And now it's like everybody's in this like monster truck battle of who can be the best promoter, which is a little scary as a racer, but Best in the Desert seems like they're doing a good job right now.
Yeah, exactly. And it'll all work itself out in the long run. So, well, I'm glad, man. I'm glad that you guys did such a good job. I'm glad that you guys had a safe race, and I'm just pumped for you to start off the season like this, dude.
Yep. No, it's fun, you know.
What was Bo saying at the end of the race too?
As soon as the race is over, Bo's like, "Where's the chase truck?" Yeah, that guy, every single race, it doesn't matter if we win, lose, whatever. He hops in the chase truck, and if it's 12 hours or we're in Mexico, he gets in the chase truck and drives straight home right away, all through the night.
Just get back to work. Is that his whole vibe?
Yeah, he came back. I think he told me he got back at 3:45 in the morning and went straight to his shop, started prepping his car because he leaves on Wednesday for the first race of Works.
Holy smokes, dude! You guys love this side-by-side racing.
Yeah, so he's an animal. I always worry about him. I'm like, dude, don't drive home in the middle of the night, you know. And sometimes somebody will go with him. And this race, he went solo, just hopped in a truck and took the race trailer and bombed all the way home.
Just bombed all the way home. Best in the Desert actually just joined us on Instagram. So we were just talking so you guys can hear. Phil was really appreciative of all the stuff that you guys are doing to elevate the racing with the CBS stuff and obviously the racer payouts and all that stuff. I think you guys are doing a really good job, just like what Phil was saying a minute ago. All right, buddy. Well, we really appreciate it, dude. Like I said, you did a fantastic job. We're going to get Mikey DeLay on here and talk with him a little bit. So when will we see you next at KOH?
Yep, King of the Hammers will race the desert race and we'll race the rock race. And that's our favorite race of the year. Do you go out to that one?
We're going to go out this year. I might even be hanging out with you a little bit this year, so we'll see.
Yeah, you got to come by. That's for sure. I mean, that's like it's a checkers or wreckers race because it's not for points, but that race is so fun. And we get Cheney out there and the Miller brothers, and I don't know, we all pre-run together. It's a good time for sure.
Yeah, for sure. All right, buddy. Well, we'll see you out at King of the Hammers, and again, congratulations, dude. Don't spend all that money in one place.
Oh yeah, thanks.
All right, homie. We'll see you later. Thank you.
Yep.
Man. Talking about the whole Best in the Desert thing, like that is pretty cool that they're giving back. I'm glad that he brought that up because that actually means a lot to anybody, even if you guys have or haven't raced yet before. It's cool to see that Best in the Desert is being proactive with all the racers here. Let's get Mikey DeLay on real quick, and we'll talk with him about his race. He was the winner of the UTV Trophy Unlimited is what they call it. So I think it's just the Unlimited class. But yeah, Mikey, what's up, buddy?
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Great.
Hey, so congratulations on winning the, what is it called? Is it the UTV Trophy Unlimited class?
Yeah, that's the new name for it, yeah.
Right on. I don't know if you can point the camera down a little bit, can you? There you go, so we can see you a little bit better. We want to see your pretty face, dude.
Oh, man, I was trying to hide it.
But hey, we're at IMG Motorsports, and James was talking about you a little bit earlier today.
He's the whole reason I got this car right now.
Yeah, pretty rad, right?
What's that?
It's pretty rad that you guys got that thing all ready to rip.
Yeah, it is.
All right, so let's get a little bit of a baseline here. So I haven't actually had the opportunity to talk to you since we had the Dirt Life. So you've been racing UTVs for a little while, huh?
A couple of years, yeah. We started. First time I was ever in a UTV was in a race course.
Really?
I bought a used car, took it to Lucas, and first time I ever drove one or even rode in one.
What year was that?
It was 2015 in the 900 class.
Dude, I probably been on track with you a couple times then.
You were in the 1,000 the first year that I was in the 900 class.
That's cool, man. But obviously you like the UTV racing.
Yeah, well, we did good our first race, and that was the problem. We were hooked. So.
That's usually what happens, right? You go out there and you're like, man, these UTVs are a lot more fun than I thought they were going to be.
Oh, yeah, it's great. And then we were hooked. And after that, a friend of mine converted his car to a desert car. James built it. Then I bought the car after racing the 1,000 with it and started racing desert.
Dude, look at you, man, just stepping right up to the plate. So what was it like going out there, or what was actually, before we asked that, what was the reason that you signed up for the Trophy Unlimited class? Is that just the class that the car fits in?
So last year it was sponsorship wise. I got offered an opportunity for paid entries and stuff like that. If I would race that class, they had an opening.
Perfect.
I would rally with the car. That's why I have this car. After James had his Turbo S, I'm like, that looks like a lot of fun. So I basically built a very stock car. And just who cares? Let's go race it in the Unlimited class.
Dude, that's crazy. So some of those cars are pretty fast in the Unlimited class. I mean, the Trophy Unlimited class has good guys like Mitch Guthrie with a 4-cylinder Pro R in it. I mean, it's got some pretty heavy hitters.
It does, and I'm glad to see those guys in that class. It makes it really legit when you got guys like that in there racing.
Yeah, 100%. All right, so you've obviously done some racing in the past, but what were your expectations coming into 2022?
Finish a race. This was a new car last year, and we had the new car blues. It was just one thing after another every race. Yeah.
What can you tell us about the car? Like, what kind of car is it? What's been done to it?
It's a 2020 Turbo S. It's got a Pro XP tranny in it.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it. It's a very stock car. I built a cage for it, put a fuel cell in it, and that's it. It's still got cup holders and everything. It's a stock car.
Just in case you get thirsty, you can throw a Coke in there and go out for a ride.
It works pretty good. You can see.
That's a pretty big understanding. I mean, like a lot of guys in UTVs, they still use their race cars to go out on trail rides and stuff too. So that's a pretty good thing for you to be able to tell our audience too, is that those things are pretty versatile.
Very versatile. You don't have to build a $100,000 car. It helps. It makes everything way better for you, but you don't have to.
Yeah, exactly.
On it, and it's been great.
And so to talk about that as well, kudos to you, man, because, the guy in fourth place, Dustin Jones, he came from 69th and he was pretty close to you. He was only about a minute behind you. So had he had a little bit more time, it would probably be a safe bet that he would have ended up in the top 3 overall. But, dude, you were up there. You were third car across the finish line on corrected time with 4 hours, 13 minutes, and 57 seconds. And you were only 5 seconds behind Vito Ranuio.
Yeah, we didn't know where we were during the whole race. We just went out there and took it easy, saved the car, just went to finish. We had no clue where we were at during the whole race. And when we finished, there was only 2 cars in front of us. Kind of surprised.
That's cool. And who's your co-driver?
Chris Navarro.
Oh, okay, cool.
From the start.
Yeah, so how was that riding with him on the race? Like, did you guys know, the reception was really bad as far as like getting people in and out, like in the radio reception and stuff. But did you guys get updates from the pits, like as how you were doing, and how was he dealing with everything that was going on in the race?
No, I don't have very many pit people. It's just family. It's my dad, my wife's dad, her uncle, and a couple of friends came out. So we were all just at main pit. I didn't have anybody at the remote pit at all. I threw a tire with another team, took it out there. We had no cell coverage, so we had no idea. We were just running the car in its happy place. That's it.
Dude, that's so cool, man. Like, that gives me chills thinking about it, that you guys are out there just having a great time. And I do think that goes back to what we were talking about the camaraderie of the off-road industry itself. Like, your whole family's out there taking time off work, doing all these things to help you out and get you across the finish line as good as possible. It's got to feel good to give them a payback by winning the Trophy Unlimited class.
It was great, and even better was the getting the third overall. That was a really big deal.
Yep, 100%. Well, and I mean, you got to look like second through fourth. I mean, it was only 2 minutes, but you were only 5 seconds off of the second place. I mean, it was really close for all you guys, and not knowing any of that and the time splits and stuff during the race, that had to be like, just keep going.
That was it. We were the car was happy the way we were driving it. Didn't want to break anything. Real mellow. I mean, I kind of wish we would have known how close we were. We could have turned it up and gone for it, but. It's a good finish, though.
Any sketchy things happened during the race?
I think we were right behind the shock therapy car when they hit the cow, because they came running out of bushes, one guy, and he was waving his arms, pointing at the cow.
Oh, really?
So he gave us a wave as we were getting close to him, so we knew he was all right. And that looked kind of bad, but that was about it. We took it easy. We wanted to finish.
It's so funny you say you took it easy. What was your top speed?
I have no idea. The car was happy where it was, and that was it. The car runs good, though. It'll move.
That's super cool. When I hear those things, like, a lot of people would, probably give you a little bit of keyboard warrior comments and say, well, he doesn't even know his top speed. But, like, that doesn't mean that he doesn't know his top speed. It means he knows how good the car feels inside the car. And I drive a lot like that too, on feeling, right? And you get to a point where you're like, you know what? We don't need to go any faster than this, or we don't have to go any faster than this. This is where our pace is, and that has to feel good when you're driving.
Yeah, I go all by feel. The car feels right. That's just the speed we're going. It doesn't matter who's passing you or whatever's going on, because your car is set up for that speed you're going, whatever it might be. I mean, I know the top speed of the car, but we weren't going it.
Yeah, exactly. Wes Leffler actually commented in and said, in the past 4 years, I can't remember an unlimited car finishing this high overall. And Wes, I don't know if you were just watching, but when Mikey was saying this, but the car is not like overbuilt. It's just a pretty much stock car. So for that car to be able to finish that well, you got to give kudos to Mike for driving it that good, man. So like I said, kudos to you, dude.
The car works really well. It may not be overbuilt and all trick, but it works really good. The suspension's set up nice. It handles really good, and we try not to overdrive it. We try and keep it together. Walker Evans did great on the shocks. We were trying to fix stuff, playing with that a little bit. It's all been good. Great stuff.
Yeah, and plus you're driving on feel, like where the car can go. How long have you had this car actually?
Last year we built it. Last year was the first season on the car.
Oh, okay, cool. So you do have a good feeling underneath you of how it drives.
Yeah, we just had a lot of random things break on the car last year.
Yeah. So now you know all the little idiosyncrasies of it, right?
I hope so.
What was some of the favorite parts of the race for you guys?
I like it when you parallel the canal. It's up and down, kind of like a go-kart track there. A lot of fun. We kind of launched to some of those things a little faster, going backwards than I'm used to.
You're like, I could send it a little harder.
Oh yeah, I realigned my back on one of them though.
Oh,
it was a good hit once, but we were a little heavier than normal, running more gas and stuff in the car than we normally.
Wes actually said you came around, you came around him and scared us half to death. We very smooth pass, and we latched onto them for. Ran outside their dust. Thanks for the tow, Mike.
Yeah, we were drafting them.
That's good. Shake and bake, baby.
Yeah, gave
him a tow. I like that. I'm a big road bike guy, so when you say give him a tow, that really actually I understand that a lot. So it's cool that you have this camaraderie, right?
What was really nice about them too is they seen us coming and they were onto the right side. It was very nice, very easy to pass, very clean. It didn't have to kind of like sit there a while, give them a little bump or anything. They moved right over and we went right by.
Did you have any issues on the track at all? Did the car give you any burps or grumpy anything?
No, this was a trouble-free race. It just took it easy. let it do what it does. The car, you know.
What's the plans for you guys coming up then? Are you guys going to do any more races for Best in the Desert, or where you guys think you're going to be? Actually, you know what? Wait, before I answer that or ask that question, what kind of check did you get?
I got 9,700.
Dude, Best in the Desert's coming through.
Oh yeah, that was nice.
Yeah, because that gives you the opportunity to be able to maybe, if you weren't going to race the whole season, maybe do it.
It does. It helps a lot. I'm a very small team. I do all the prep. I load the car, unload it, wash it. Everything's me 100%. So it takes a lot of time, and I don't have a whole lot of support. I do have, RMG supports me. BBC supports me, Method. Quite a few people help me.
You know what? Every single one of us as racers, we all want to have that factory racing program, right? But I have I have a lot of conversations. I got to a factory level, and I was really proud of myself for doing that. But it brings on all kinds of more money, more problems, right? So it brings on all these different things. And I tell everybody, I say, if I was going to go out and do a racing program right now, even with all the sponsors I have, I would probably just pay for everything myself and go out there and have a good time. So what you're saying really hits home with me.
Yeah, we're just kind of low key. I mean, it's a fun thing for us. We're doing it because it's a lot of fun, and it's nice to go against the top guys now. Having a turbo car, we could actually race against them and see what our times are, see what happens.
Dude, that's so cool, man. And then what did your co-driver say when he was figured out that you guys were that high up? Was he like, no shit, let's go?
Oh yeah, he's like, don't even worry about the temperatures, just run it. I'm like, no, let's take it easy. Finish the race, make sure it all hangs together. The last thing I need is to throw it away at the end there.
Oh man, that's cool. And then you guys get up on the podium, and you're like, "No way, we finished that high." Is that how it was, or what?
Oh yeah, exactly. We pulled up, and I was looking for all the other cars, and they go, "Oh, you're third one in." Wow. And we had to wait there for a while to see. I think we qualified 13th.
Okay.
Wait for the other cars behind us in our class to come in to see where we finished time wise, and we were kind of worried for a while, but then they told us they gave it to us. So.
Did you pass a lot of guys on course then?
I think we passed 3 or 4 cars, which, man, normally, we're passing tons of cars stuck in the dirt, all kinds of things. So it was really nice not having to pass cars.
Yeah, so I guess you would probably, running the track the way that they did and around the outside or whatever, that's actually a really good way to do it.
It was a fun course. It was a nice change, something different. It didn't beat you to death, of course. It was really
except for when you did your back spinal.
That's my own fault.
Oh, man, it sounded like you guys had a great time. Were you guys able to celebrate afterwards, too, with the whole crew?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we did a little trip to Roadrunner. We were trying to watch Supercross, and I ended up going in the river. So.
Hey, Supercross is always on the TV the next day, man. You can catch up on it when you get back to the house, right?
Yeah. Still haven't got to see it yet. So.
Oh, really? Yeah, just been working. So we had a couple comments come in. The Dave 1907 said, "Great race, Mike." Miguel Nafab said, "Awesome job, Mike." A couple other people were saying awesome job as well. So, dude, I think it's so cool. Is this your first time actually winning in one of the pro classes?
No, I had an NA car, and we won quite a bit with that.
Oh, cool.
And then this car, the first race we did with it, it was the Glen Helen race that they did last year, and we won that one with it.
Dude, look at you. Natural driver over here.
Just luck a little bit,
Yeah, well, and you're prepping the whole car. I was actually having a conversation with I don't remember who it was, but we had a conversation a couple days ago about race prep. And there's a lot of guys that don't touch the car; they just prep it or have it prepped, and then they get in and they drive it. I always think that when you're at least when you're beginning or starting out, the best thing to do is just to get your hands dirty as much as possible. Because the more that you touch those bolts, the more that you understand what it does in the seat of your pants or with your steering wheel, and you understand what the car has to offer you at that point because you have such a tighter relationship with it. And I think that's a lot of what you're saying.
Absolutely. You start to know the weak points. When you did a race, when you clip some, I might have hurt some. We'll take it easy. This could be broke. That could be just make things a lot better. It'd be very difficult if I had to put a car. You're out there racing it and not know the feel.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. And then, maybe down the road, you get a factory program and stuff. But Fusion Off-Road says, here we go, talking about your beard. Even a caveman can go win. Good job, Mike.
Yeah.
Oh, what was that commercial back in the day? Wasn't it like a Geico commercial?
Yeah, the Geico, I think, wasn't it? So easy a kid could do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So when you get done with the races, was your family and your pit crew and everybody like, dude, hell yes, like let's crack some beers, let's celebrate.
Oh yeah, my kids were super excited. My oldest one got to ride with me a couple years ago at the World Champ.
Oh,
He was
really?
8 years old, and we finished second in the Pro and A class. And he's been hooked ever since. But I've been waiting to put him in the turbo car. The speeds are quite a bit higher and stuff. And I wanted to get really familiar with it before I put him on with it.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool, man. Pass it down, right?
Yeah, and my wife even raced with me when we did the race at Glen Helen. She rode in the car when we won it. So.
No shit. Like, how did she feel after that? Was she had a whole new respect for the UTV racing or what?
You know, it helped out in the pits a lot because she understands what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing and what's going on.
Yeah, because you can get both, right? Yep.
Yeah, so it really helped a lot with her doing it. So she just said she closed her eyes half the
time. She just opens her eyes a little bit to look and tell you where to go and then closes them again.
Well, it was Glen Helen, so we just went with it, ran the track. So.
Oh, that's funny. Johnny Coltura actually commented in and said, I just talked to Mike before this race, and he's a good guy. Yeah, he's definitely a good guy, Johnny. So what's the plan for the rest of the year, you said? Race the best in the desert and see where things go?
I don't know. I'm not sure. It just depends on budget and everything else. I'm going to try and do hammers if I can, not the rock race, the desert race.
Yeah.
And maybe do more best in the desert races too.
It would be pretty cool to see you out doing more of the best in the desert races. Obviously, you got the speed to be able to go out there and do it. And like when you start off the year with such a bang, does it make you want to kind of continue and see if you can win this championship?
Definitely. It's a huge incentive.
Yeah,
we're going to go first we can with it.
That's super cool, man. I'm pumped for you. All right, we're going to get Max Eddy on here real quick. So just throw a shout out to some of the people that helped you. Obviously, you already said your family and friends, James at IMG Motorsports, I know, and then who else?
Oh, yeah, James has been a huge help. You know, I always talk to him about, cars and this and that, and he's a big deal about making them just simple.
Yep, 100%.
RMG, Rivershore Motorsports, they helped me out. DBC Tires, they've helped me out.
Right on.
Race. PRP, seat belts, nets, all that stuff, and VP Fuels.
Dude, sweet. Well, you got a lot of good supporters on there, and I know you want to thank your family and friends too. So, all right, man. Well, hopefully I get to see you since I'm living in Southern California now. Maybe we'll go get some tacos. But good job at the races, dude. Keep it up.
Thank you.
All right, homie. We'll catch you later. I don't know if you know how to log off, but all you got to do is just hit that button or hit the screen and then hit that X on the top.
All right, got it.
All right, homie. We'll see you later. Thank you. We're going to get Max Eddy on here in a little bit. He was taking an RS1 on course. Max Eddy, what's up, dude? Dude, how come you're all sideways? There we go. Still sideways. There you go. Can you just run it like that? How's that? It's a little hard to hear you. I wonder if your cell phone's service is going to be bad, but we'll try it. What's going on, Max Eddy?
Nothing. Just our room.
I don't know if we're going to have to move you, dude. We might have to move to a different spot because it sounds like you're breaking up a little bit here.
Really? I'm on my iPad. It's good.
Yeah, it sounds pretty good. It's just a little hard to hear you. But, yeah, okay. So, dude, you qualified really well for the race. Took out the, what do we call her? Old Faithful, the RS1 that Craig Scanlon gave me to race and then gave you to race, and now it's just all over the map, just doing some good work out on course. But this race, it didn't treat you quite as well, huh?
No, I think that's a super minor issue that.
Hey, we're gonna have to have you move somewhere else, man. I don't know. It's just not a good signal wherever you're at. Wait till
why.
There you go. That sounds a lot better now.
Really? Why?
Maybe it's just the Wi-Fi. I don't know. Yeah, that's way better right there. We're gonna have to have to put a media room at the Casa, dude. Yeah. Connor said take your phone case off, but you're on the iPad, right?
Yep.
Speak into the microphone. Yeah, it is really hard to hear you. Do you want? We'll give Max a second here to get his life together, and then we'll see if we can hear him a little bit better.
Is that any better?
Yeah, that's quite a bit better, dude.
Okay. Yeah, this thing's making some weird noise on here, so I don't know what's going on.
Nah, it's all right. We can hear you a lot better now. So, all right. So you drove a RS1 that's close to my heart. You drove a RS1 out at the Parker 250. How did it start off the weekend? You guys qualified. Fantastic.
Yeah, we went out and just kind of cruising, not knowing what to expect. Obviously, we raced. This is our third race in this car, but still, you show up to different series and there's a different pace. Ran at all of them, so we just kind of felt it out. Yeah, we had a good qualifying. Everything was going good, and mile 4, my car went into limp mode. Basically, my heart dropped, and I didn't really know what to do. Luckily, the first 8-10 miles was 25 mile an hour through the Jeep trail there and stuff in Parker. So we survived through there. But once we got on the fast roads, leaving heading out of town, it just, I was moving backwards on the course. So
yeah, and when you say that, like a lot of times, like in Mexico, you can still go on some of the trails. You can go that fast and be fine. But like at this race, we even had Phil Blurton say like averages were above 50 miles an hour. So like you got to really be cooking to be able to keep pace with everybody else. So that sounds like it was pretty detrimental.
Yeah, it was no good. It ended up we went like that for 78 miles in and out of limp mode, and I don't know what the deal was. I don't know why I didn't stop earlier and look, but I went around the back of the car and just wiggled the wires on my fuel injection harness, and thing came out of limp mode. So somehow my fuel injection plug that plugs into the injectors got disconnected.
Or just loose.
Yeah, just loose, and I don't know how or why it could have happened. We didn't have those off. We didn't service them. We didn't do anything. But that's desert racing, and I guess it is what it is. We learned a lot this race, and we're ready for more for sure. We got the car tore down today, and working.
So Mikey DeLay was actually just talking to us about this right before you came on, and he does all his own prep. When I had my professional program, I did all of my prep, and these things that you have to learn. There's a lot of working parts on these UTVs, right? There's sensors, there's all kinds of wires, there's just tons of stuff that can happen, and you run all your own prep. You do a lot of your own fabrication, a lot of the builds for the whole vehicle. So when you guys have something like this happen, I don't ever think it's a bad thing. I think it's a sucky thing because you weren't able to go out there and perform the way you wanted to because you wanted to win, right? But it's a learning curve. Now you understand what can happen. So that's another box that you have to check on every single prep job that you do. So, I know that you're going to improve in the future.
Yeah, I don't have a mentor here or someone that's been around these forever teaching us and showing us all the troubles that they've experienced or nothing. We're kind of learning as we go and learning what works, what doesn't work. And it may take a little while, but we'll get there. I know we will. I have faith in our team, and I got some help that comes over here. So we're figuring it out. It sucks that we got to figure it out on course on some of these issues, but I think that's just part of racing.
Yeah, it's one of those things though. Is like, was your first dirt bike race a really good one? No, it wasn't. It was probably average. Like, you know what I mean? So I get it. And the high expectations that you have and the racing mentality and the technique and stuff that you have, you got to rest on that, man, because you want to go out there and win. You know what I mean? I know that you're disappointed, but take it for what it is, learn from it, and keep moving on. Michael Ward says, "What's up, Max?"
What's going on, buddy? Yeah, you know though, but there's a fine line in that because you know, I was fortunate enough to have a good bike career, which, you know, obviously brought on some really good sponsors for my side-by-side program and stuff like that. And they don't want to hear the excuses. They just want performance, you know? So there's a fine line there. Like, I can't be finding these issues during the race. I have to find a way to make them happen. Not during the race, anytime but the race, because, you know, my sponsors are expecting me to perform.
Yep.
And that it's tough to do, man. And I was listening to your podcast with Michael, and he said, you know, more money, more problems, and you know that's the truth. And sometimes it takes the fun out of it, you know. When everyone wants to have all these sponsors or be a factory racer and stuff like that, but then you know it was the same thing on the bike days. You're expected to perform. You're expected to win.
Yep.
So there is a lot of pressure there in that aspect of it, you know.
Dude, 100%. Like, and to kind of give a little bit of backbone to that. So when I was a Yamaha driver, we didn't run the program like a standard UTV program, arrive and drive kind of thing. We didn't prep a car and go out there. We had a race car, just like we would in dirt bikes. That was a race bike. We had another car was built very, very similar to that, but it had opening doors, and that was our practice bike. We would go out at least twice a week, make sure that we beat the crap out of it, learned every single thing that we could, and had a practice bike, basically what it was for me, because that's the way I learned to work on the vehicle. I learned what I could go out there and break. So we tried to do exactly what you're trying to avoid right now and break everything before we got to the races. Did we have success with it? Maybe 60% or so. Like, there was still a lot of stuff that we learned on course. But everybody runs their program different, and it's just, you know, more money, more problems. It's about resources. It's about time. It's about all this stuff. There's tons of guys like you, myself, that had day jobs in race professional off-road. So it just is what it is, man. And I think you're doing a great job.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, we're learning. I love learning. I love figuring out new stuff, and these cars, they're so fun to drive, man. That little RS1, I had it up to 86 miles an hour on that second loop. You know, at mile 75, I fixed the issue and didn't have a single issue the rest of the race. But 86 miles an hour in that little short wheelbase car, my forearms are a little bit sore today from wheeling that thing around. My forearms haven't been sore since the dirt bike days. So, it was fun. That little car is good at best in the desert, man, and the desert racing.
It's just a fun car to drive, man. I love those things.
They are. They're really fun. Just that was a once in a lifetime problem that I had. You know, I don't think it'll ever happen again. Who knows? You know, the fuel injection plugs, they're solid. Like, you have to push in on a little tab, and like finagle the tab off the injector, and I don't know how it came loose or what, but
we've seen them come loose. We've seen those things come loose with pressure washers. So they'll get in there and they'll kind of like get behind the little rubber grommet that's in there, and it'll push it. It'll like push it down. So like it's weird, and the rubber grommet will put pressure, and it'll just push it enough where it just barely comes off the top of it. So sometimes we would, you know, every 2 races, 3 races, we would take those things apart and we would make sure everything was all settled back in and all those rubber grommets.
Yep. So, but yeah, other than that, dude, I had the boss man out running a pit for me at mile 70, which Keith and Craig Scanlon and those guys.
Hey, so how was it having Craig in the pits?
Hey, so I'm trying to tell them, like, both laps I come in, I'm trying to tell them a story or tell them something, right? And I pull my helmet down and I'm like shouting out my helmet to him. And I don't think he was listening because he was like watching the fuel, and he goes, go, 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 go. You're full. And I'm like, dude, I'm in limp mode. He's like, just go. And I'm like, all right. I just pinned it out of there. And it was cool having those guys out there, you know, and I look up to those guys. They've been doing the Razor thing for a long time and got it figured out. And Keith and Brandon, basically the whole SMG Motorsports team was out there at mile 70. And and they camped out there the night before and barbecued, and they had a good time. So by the time I pulled up to them, you know, I had been in and out of limp mode or whatever, so I was super, super frustrated, and just pulling up and seeing all those guys definitely put a smile on my face and like, all right, we're going for it. I'll drive this thing in limp mode the whole race if I have to. I want to see these guys when I come back around on lap 2, you know?
Yeah, for sure. That's cool, man. That we were talking about the camaraderie and stuff like that when we were talking a little bit before on the show. It's neat to hear that you guys are doing it. Michael Ward 75 says Mac's a true professional, no matter what he is involved in, including the Speedway bike world. Speedway bike world? What's that all about?
You know, Michael and his father had a Speedway bike for a while, and they sponsored me on it, and started out in Division 1 and made it all the way up to Division 3, and I think I won a couple main events in Division 3 in the Speedway bike scene.
Dude, look at this guy, wheelman no matter what it is. So Old Checker 11111 said, what's the rough cost to be competitive for a Best in the Desert season? Well, there is no real rough cost, man. Like, there's so many different classes, there's so many different levels of support, and all these people, all the different stuff. So if you want to go out and race Best in the Desert, I strongly suggest doing one of like the stock spec classes or the rally class. Don't get into one of the pro classes just yet, but go out and check it out. Ask some of those guys what they're spending per weekend. You could probably get away with, I don't know, $2,500 a weekend, including race entries and fuel and stuff if you do all your prep work. So you can get away with doing the season for pretty cheap, but go out there and check it out. I know that Max did and went out and checked out some of the UTV racing before he got into it.
Yeah, and you know, George, like my new car that I'm building, the 2-seater car, with the, you know, excluding the cost of a brand new Polaris or a used Polaris, whatever you want to do, I'm building my car for, I'm going to say it's probably going to be about $8,000, $10,000, you know, which is relatively cheap. It's going to be a super close to stock car, which I think these cars, the Polaris cars, are super competitive. This RS1, it's got a longer travel kit on there, and that's it. It's stock.
Yep.
It's a stock car. So what's the long travel kit cost? $3,500, $4,500?
Yeah, well, that one actually came with Walker Evans shocks. We got some pretty trick shocks on that one too, but you can get those things dialed in. I mean, I think you could buy an already built pre-race car from another team. Like a lot of those top teams, they sell their race cars at the end of the year, so you can get into something that's already built for a decent price, like you know, almost the same cost as a showroom razor if you get a decent car, and you can go out there and just have fun.
Yeah, you know, and that's what I was in it for, you know, and it's just crazy the amount of support that you get for side-by-sides. All my years of racing bikes, never got this kind of support.
Yep.
On the bike stuff. The market for the side-by-side stuff is just so unreal right now. It's you call any, whether it's Baja Designs Lights or Fox or any of these companies that make products for the Polarises or the side-by-side industry, they're willing to work with us. Like, you know, it's crazy. Never even seen this in dirt bike days.
Yeah, and a lot of guys too, 4-wheel parts. I mean, everybody, like a lot of those guys have deals where they can sell you blend parts or stuff that's not like brand new that maybe it's got a scratch on it or something. Then they can help your budget too.
Yeah.
So, hey, let's get back to talking about your race, though. So having Craig and all those guys pit for you must have been pretty awesome. But you got it out of limp mode. You figured out what was going on. You started turning it up again, and you finished strong.
Yeah, we finished 8th. You know, obviously that's not where I expect to be. But it's desert racing, you know, and it happens. As long as I don't make a habit of it, I'm all right. But, you know, we had a perfect race other than that. And in hindsight, I wish I would have got out and looked immediately when it went into limp mode, because I think we still could have won. The first NA car didn't even pass me till race mile 70.
Yeah, there you go. So but that's one of those learning curves, dude. I mean, now you know, right? Like if something happens, it goes into limp mode, you turn it off, turn it back on. If it still doesn't work, you jump out and jiggle all the wires, whatever it is.
Yeah. So, but you know, that's the learning curve we're talking about. Yeah, you learn something new every race, and you know, I look forward to it. I already got my car all dialed in, tore down. My new car's getting worked on, and
Yeah. So what are the plans for you this year?
Well, I'll be doing the whole entire Best in the Desert series.
Okay.
And that's my main focus, 100%. If anything else comes up, I would sure entertain it, but I got to fulfill my obligations and which is Best in the Desert. So,
okay, cool. Well, yeah, I mean, Best in the Desert is a good place for you. I mean, like a lot of those tracks, and you obviously can haul the mail in the desert. I'm sure that you guys will do some Mexico stuff, or at least help out with some of the Scanlon Motorsports group in Mexico. But man, it's cool to see you started off with a bang in qualifying. You obviously had to learn a couple things while you were on course at the beginning of the race, but coming home and finishing strong, that you got to rest, your head on that and be pretty stoked on that, dude, because there's a lot of people that may or may not have been able to figure that out, and you did.
Yeah, we'll be ready for we're starting 8th at UTV Legends in February 18th, and luckily, so the way the Best in the Desert did, they qualified us there. That's the only race of the year that we're going to qualify, I think, besides Best in the Desert. So now starting positions are based off of your points.
Okay.
So obviously we finished 8th. We're 8th in points now, so we'll have an 8th place starting position in Laughlin, which is I'm okay with, because it's not a complete dusty course. It does take some skill to drive Laughlin with all the bumps and the turns, and half of it's watered. So that should be
8th is actually a pretty good spot to start in for that race. So
yep,
sweet, man.
So we should be good.
Right on. Well, I know you already mentioned them, but we're going to get Alexia Leeming to come on here in just a little bit here. But throw a shout out to some of the people that helped you out when you were out there.
Man, it's obviously the whole SMG guys that were out there at mile 70, the pit. I have my pit guys here from Barstow, Robbie, Jason, my son, my wife,
all the homies. Axel was a big part of your program.
Axel was there, my 3-year-old. Yep. He kept telling me, "You did great, Daddy. You did great." As soon as I pulled in from the finish line, So,
nice.
It's just cool to bring the whole family out, man, and hang out. But my sponsors are the best. 4 Wheel Parts, Polaris, SMG, Baja Designs, KMC Wheels, Ryan over there. We just signed a new contract with Yokohama Tire.
Oh, right on.
So we will be racing Yokohama tires the rest of the year.
Hey, we had a couple of questions come in, or actually one. Alan Dredd said they're going to qualify for Vegas to Reno as well, so that's cool. Wayne Ellis said the New Year's ride was fire. That was a dirt bike ride that you went on. And then Michael Ward, 75, said, will Max be racing the Parker 425?
Yes, I will. We went back down Sunday and pre-run after the side-by-side race. We pre-ran the course for the trophy truck. I will be racing with Corey Kezar in the number 20 Lakeside Auto trophy truck. Me and my navigator Austin will be starting, doing the first half, and then Corey will finish.
That was pretty cool. And did your nephew Austin have a good time?
Yeah, I think he did. He's jazzed. So
he was fired up, huh? Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, we got to get Alexia on right now, so we really appreciate you coming on and hanging out with us, dude. Make sure that you get the RS1 nice and cleaned up. I love that car.
It's cleaned up and getting ready to go eat a bunch of food for the pedal tomorrow.
Woo-wee. All right, so we'll see you down in Orange County. We'll go bike riding tomorrow, dude. All right, well, yeah, have a good time, Max. And, dude, I know you're not stoked on it, but you did a great job this weekend.
Thank you very much, George.
All right, see you tomorrow, buddy.
Okay, bye-bye.
Later. All right, so we're going to get Alexia Leeming on real quick here. And in the meantime, while we're waiting for her, I want to say thank you to all the guys that do support the show. KMC Wheels, EFX Tires, Shock Therapy, the guys over at Zollinger Racing Products. Did I say EFX Tires already? Evolution Power Sports. You can see this hat, right? It's a pretty sick hat. Those guys are making some serious power. The guys over at Cryo Heat and Solderweld. You can always go visit our sponsors on the Dirt Life Show. Click the sponsor deals button and get a whole bunch of save a whole bunch of money with all of our sponsors. So thank you to all those guys for helping out. Let's see if we can get Alexia on here. Alexia, what's up?
Hi.
How are you? Hey, could you? Yeah, there you go. Can you point your phone down so we could see you? Dude, your rig is still looking sweet, man. I got to tell you, I love those colors.
Thank you.
All right, so how did your race go this weekend?
It didn't go bad because it was our first desert race. We had a couple little minor issues that we know to work on for the next race. We were running second most of the race until a couple little mechanical failures caused us to spend some time in the pits and have to limp it a little bit, but we still managed to get fourth place.
Yeah, that's really good. And then so, well, let's Tarantino this and take a step back real quick. So, first of all, how old are you?
15.
Oh, okay, cool. So you're still pretty young, man. It's awesome to see that you're out there racing, and then you're racing in a professional class too. You know?
Yeah,
And then what class are you racing in?
I'm racing in the super stock class.
Do you like that class?
I do. I mean, I'm racing against a lot of turbos, but I mean, they do put it at a fair advantage, and I think that this class really does show what the UTVs stock are capable of without spending, I mean, hundreds of thousands of dollars on fully built cars.
Yeah, totally. I actually really like that class. Like, I think that class is going to be pretty popular in the future. In fact, I would actually like to get a car and race that class if it were me.
Yeah.
All right. So when you went to your first desert race, did you have high expectations?
I mean, I've done a couple of desert races in the past with my friend Ruslan, but this is my first on my own. We just wanted to finish this race. I want to hopefully go for the championship and rookie of the year. So we're not going out to try to win races. We're just trying to be consistent throughout the year and hopefully at the end of the season pull away a championship or rookie of the year.
Dude, that would be super cool, right? Those are some pretty lofty goals, though, don't you think?
Yeah.
Do you think you're gonna be able to pull them off? Because I feel like you can.
I mean, as long as every race went like this race did, I mean, it's kind of a given to have minor mechanical issues in a desert race, but as long as we can be consistent, we have a shot at it.
Yeah, totally. I think you guys are going to do pretty good. How did it feel going out there on the long course? Because you've done like some AZOP racing and some other stuff. But how did it feel to get out there on the long course? And I mean, dude, it's your first big desert race. It's got to be pretty cool.
Yeah, it definitely was. I'll be honest, the first lap, I was like, look at these mile markers. We're at mile 10, mile 20. I mean, we weren't even at pit one. I'm like, this is going to be a long race. And I was like, I don't mind. I didn't really get tired, but something I've always struggled with, my arms will start hurting a lot. And it was already happening.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I mean, my arms now are still really, like, my neck and back are a little bit sore from the bumps and stuff, but I mean, I feel fine. It's just my arms and hands that's always been an issue for me, is just pain. So before pit one, I was already telling my co-driver, I'm like, my hands are already starting to hurt. I'm like, this is going to be a long race. Because we're only a quarter of the way through the first lap and there's 2 laps. But I mean, we made it to pit 2, then that was our first pit stop, topped off on, we ended up going through more fuel than we thought, but we topped off on fuel, then made it to the main pit. I had to put my gloves on and hope to go, because I hate wearing gloves. So I did, to try to see if that helped my hands. I took some Advil, and once we finished the first lap,
did it help?
It did help a little bit, yeah. The second lap went by a lot faster, like once I got settled in and found my pace and started picking off cars and stuff.
Dude, one of the things that I think is super cool about your guys' program is that it's so family oriented. Like, your brothers race, your dad races a little bit every now and then. Your mom's obviously one of the best pit moms on the planet. But you also, like, when you're at Tech and Contingency, you brought the puppies too. That was pretty sweet.
I got her over here. She's with me.
Oh, number 1 pit crew right there.
My bestie.
What's her name?
Lucy.
Lucy?
Yep.
Did she like being at the races at her first desert race too?
She loves it. She loves the attention that everyone gives her. Everyone loves her. She loves it.
Oh, that's pretty cool. What kind of dog is she?
She's a French bulldog.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk a little bit more about the races then. So, what was the worst or scariest part about the race, and then what was the best part about the race?
I don't really know. The worst part was definitely the beginning. Like, it was just super rocky, and rough. But the best part, I think, it was like, I think it was right after pit 3. There were like some sandy, like it was a little more of a sandier trail and it had like some turns into it. Like to me, that was fun. Or it was,
Did you like the high speed sections?
I mean, I loved my car. I mean, this is the same car I raced in short course last year, so it still was clutched for pulling hole shots, not mile long straights.
Yeah.
So, my RPMs got really high on the straights, and so I really couldn't go above 70, 75 on a straight without my RPMs getting, like too high. With it.
Yeah, so that's a learning curve, though. Now you guys know that you got to reclutch it.
Yeah, so that's probably the biggest thing that we have to change for the next race is just clutching, and that's an easy fix.
Yeah, that totally is. But I mean, that's good. Like, what are some of the things that you learned actually out there on course? Because like, I mean, AZOP is fun,
Yeah.
but it's nowhere near the same thing.
No, it's totally different. I mean, this race. I mean, talking to my co-driver, I'm not I'm used to the AZOPs a lot, like the super tight corners, like stuff like
Yep.
that, and that's what I got used to. I'm not used like these high speed roads that are miles long and you're wide open corners. I mean, that's not the tracks that I'm used to, and so
Yeah, there's even some corners that are long enough and scary enough that you're doing 60, 70 miles an hour through them.
There's some turns on those where you could be going wide open all the way through them, and he definitely said that I had to relearn how to corner the car on stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I definitely made I could tell from driving, I would always I'd always slide up the corners and really keep the car in the line that I wanted it to. But by lap 2 and towards the end, I figured out how to get the car to move through those corners right.
Yeah, to settle in
Yeah.
and to just get traction going through the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's cool that you're learning all that stuff. That probably has to feel pretty good, though, because it probably almost feels like, whoa, I got a whole nother driving style,
Yeah.
and I can learn all this new stuff. Like, how did you feel after the race, knowing that you had all this stuff behind you and you learned so much?
It definitely was a big learning curve. We learned a lot. I mean, it felt great to cross that finish line knowing that at the time we weren't sure if I was between third or fourth, but for a first desert race, that's amazing. So we learned how to drive in the desert. I had to learn how to pace myself better. We're talking about, those AZOP tracks are totally different where I'm used to 2-footing the corners on the brakes and
Yep.
gas or whatever. And I mean, at the start of the race, it was, I want to say mile 30, I lost brakes just because they got too hot because I was still cornering the car like I would in a 35-minute race, not a.
Yeah, it's different because
Just,
in those big races, you just manage the throttle almost all the whole time.
Yeah.
You hardly ever hit the brakes.
Yeah, at the start, I was totally 2-footing every corner because that's what I was used to for the past 3 years of racing. So, once I figured that out, by the end of the race, I learned I was going miles at a time without using brakes, just by using the throttle, letting off sooner, but throttling better. And after that, once I got my brakes cooled down, I got them back. I mean, I learned how to I didn't lose them again because I had to learn how to use them less just to keep them from overheating.
Was that one of the main things that you learned, or did you learn some other stuff? Because it sounds like you also learned the cornering and just dude, I can only imagine what your brain was going through during the race, and then after the race, downloading all that information, being like, oh my gosh, telling the team, I know how to race desert a little bit better now. Let's see what happens at the next race.
Yeah, I mean, I've done Vegas, Reno, and UTV Legends driving, and I co-drove at UTV World. So, I mean, I already got that first, desert style racing. I had some background going into this, but, I mean, this was at Vegas, Reno, I drove, I think it was around 230 miles for my leg.
Right.
But, I mean, Vegas, Reno miles are way easier miles than this. They're totally different. So,
and the pace is not as high either.
No, not at all. Vegas, Reno, you could run a way slower pace and still be at top. But how short this race was, it was go, 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 go to stay in the front.
Yeah, totally. What were your expectations going into the race?
I mean, I wanted to try to shoot for a podium just to say I could podium my first desert race because not many people can say that. if not.
Yeah, but you got to go in being confident as a racer.
Yeah. So, we just wanted to finish the race. I mean, we had no testing from the last short course race I did. We changed some parts. I mean, um, we rebuilt part of the car just to make it desert with zero testing, got new shocks and shock therapy tune down, but and they ended up working great, but we had no testing on them. So we were just going in to the first couple miles, hoping that everything was just fine and we weren't going to have any issues.
Yeah, but it sounds like it worked out pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to tell you too. Thank you for being having good Wi-Fi and being prepared, like unlike some of our other guys. Those poor guys, man. Every shop that I seem to have to go to has such bad Wi-Fi. All right, so what was your? Did I already ask you what your favorite part of the race was?
Yeah, a little bit. It was like after pit 3, there were some like sandy turns. And, there's also a little bit. I want to say I'm just guessing like mile 30, 40. Where you were on top of a hill and it was like, it's like drop backs like this the whole time. It totally reminded me of being in the dune. Like, I mean, it wasn't like the dunes, but it still had that same like going in and the front end will drop and that same feeling.
The flow, like,
and I love like
when you get that flow, that's the best.
Yeah,
like I love getting that flow on any course.
Yeah, I love it.
Sometimes you could even almost feel like that in a short course track too.
There are some tracks like that.
What did your co-driver say when you were out there? Was he like, "Man, you really impressed me today"?
I mean, he didn't really say much during the race. I mean, he definitely had to pace me better. There were times where I would get excited, like I'd get really. I mean, my mom would say, "We called the pit," and she'd say, "All right, your teammate's a minute behind you." I'm like, "No way, he's gonna catch me." So I would, sprint, and then I'd start running too. That's when I ended up getting a flat. Actually, was right.
Oh, you got a flat?
I did. It was right after the main pit going into lap 2 because I had just had like a 10-minute pit stop. And so I was in second. I knew I had a lot of time to make up because I moved back to 4th. And I knew that my teammate was behind me. And we had some like smack talk going on between us. So we're like,
nice.
He started right behind me. So we were just trying to I did not want him to get around me. So I definitely sped up and I definitely was pushing a lot faster that lap. The first lap, my co-driver slowed me down. It's like, just learn the track, learn the car. Like, it's not a sprint in the first 10 miles. But after that, he knew that I was on a mission to like catch back up from the time I lost. So he kind of let me. He knew I was pushing it a little bit more than I should be, but he kind of let me do my thing. And we ended up getting a flat and dropped back another position, but we ended up making that position back up like 30 miles later.
Dude, that's cool though. I love when you play that like that cat and mouse game, right? Because it's like it makes the race so much more fun because you have something to shoot for. It's like the little carrot trying to go get it, right?
Yeah.
Dude, that's cool. And plus you got to chalk trash back and forth too.
Oh yeah.
So what's like the end vibe? Like, how do you feel after going out and completing it? Because I mean, it's kind of stressful. Like, and especially, I mean, you're so young right now. Like, understanding what you just did and how well you did, and how I don't know what you want to say, like calm you stayed, and like you respected the car. You did what you needed to do. You were confident in your pits. Like, there's so much stuff that engulfs everything that you did over the weekend. Like, you got to feel pretty good, but then there's also that like, I don't know, I could do this better. I could do this better. Like, so what's the end vibe?
I mean, that, like we just said, like you could do better, I definitely put a lot of pressure on myself, more than like anyone else does. I mean, finishing.
That's the mentality of a good racer, though. So don't lose that.
Yeah. I mean, we finished. We did what we wanted to do. We finished the race and in 4th. I mean, that puts us 4th in points, which is a good start to the season. So, I mean, it definitely, right after the race, everyone was like, "Good job, good job." I mean, you just did that. And everyone, and you can ask anyone that is there, you could tell I was definitely hard on myself that I got 4th, because I'm like, if I didn't get that flat, I would have gotten 3rd. So I was like, that silly mistake of me getting too impatient and pushing too hard, where on the rockiest part, that was like the one, it was a couple miles, and that was the one spot everyone was saying, don't push it. People are going to get flats. They're going to break there. And I mean, that's where I pushed it hard and I made a mistake. So I definitely was hard on myself knowing that I could have walked away with the trophy if I didn't do that. But um,
Yeah, it's one of those things though, man. Like you gotta like rest on knowing what you did was good and that you learned from it. Like I always tell everybody, because everybody is so hard on themselves as racers for good reason. Like I was hard on myself, probably like you are, like the hardest person, right?
yeah.
But when you understand what you do, like if you weren't a good racer, you would have just not known that you did it wrong. You would have just cried and whined about it, and then went to the next race. But you know exactly what you did. You debriefed. You were even debriefing with us about it, and then you know what you can do to make it better for the next time. That's a really good attitude and way to go about it.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, I want to say less than an hour after the race, me, my dad, and my co-driver were already like everyone else was outside, like talking. We were looking over the car in the trailer with a piece of paper and a pencil, writing down the stuff that we already needed to do and get ready for next time. So just an hour after the
Yeah,
race,
that
we already had a list of everything that we needed to do on the car to get it ready.
that's so rad. Well, I'm stoked that you're doing that and getting it. What's the next plans for you and the whole rest of the crew?
I'm just gonna be running the BITD this year. I mean, I'm going to run the full season, obviously, because I'm trying to shoot for a championship. But this year, I think that's really all I'll stick to. My brothers are going for points in AZOP and BITD, so I guess we'll.
Dude, you guys are gonna be traveling a lot, man. Your mom and dad ready to put
Yeah.
in the miles or what?
I know there's at least one race. There's a BITD and AZOP race the same weekend, so there might be. I don't know. Mom might have to take the boys to one, and Dad will have to take me to one or something.
Yeah, mom and dad have to split the
Might
duties.
have
Hey,
to.
we used to do that in motocross all the time too. So, well, I think you're doing a really good job, and I'm proud of you for doing all that stuff. You're obviously an awesome person. I know you personally for doing a lot of stuff for me, so thank you for doing all that stuff. Throw a shout out to all your sponsors real quick, because we got to get the Murray brothers, or excuse me, Derek Murray and the X Travel guys on right now.
I want to give a huge thanks to XTC Power Products, the whole XTC racing team, 2X Motorsports and Evo for being our pit crew, Highlifter for their, amazing suspension, running on the same stuff I put on the start of next season, even through all my wrecks, I'm still on the same arms. So that's
Nice.
impressive. Got GBC tires, Walker Evans, Shock Therapy, Rugged Radios, Simpson, Race Products, 518 Designs, my mom, dad, brothers, my whole family. And I want to thank everyone that was my pit crew and everyone that made out to the race. I wish my mom and papa were there for my first desert race, but they'll be at the next one.
Oh, okay, cool. And I also want to throw a shout out to you for picking all those colors on your car. I love those colors.
Thank you.
All right. Well, so we'll see you probably, I don't know, maybe at the next race.
All right. Thank you.
No problem. We'll see you later.
See you later.
All right, we're gonna get the X Travel guys on here, and hopefully Derek Murray. I don't know who's gonna join us, but let's get James Woodford from X Travel on here, and then we're gonna wind down the show, and get ready for our week. So, James Woodford, X Travel, what's up, buddy?
Hey, how's it going?
Good, dude. How are you?
Awesome show so far.
Thank you, man. These
Been
guys,
so awesome,
these racers have been doing some serious debriefing with us, man.
right?
It's pretty cool to see all these guys so stoked. Here we go, the Murray guys coming on. Let's get who is this? Derek Murray that's going to come on with us?
Yes, yep. Derek should be coming on right now.
Okay, cool. What's up, Derek? How are you, dude?
Hey, I'm great. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, absolutely. So, dude, Parker was a pretty good race for you guys. You guys got to test out some new products too, huh?
Yeah, it's always fun to keep pushing the limits and seeing what happens. So yeah, it was a blast out there.
How was it to be able to work with such an awesome team there, James?
Oh man, they're class act, and it's so cool to work with these guys. They've been in with Can-Am since like the beginning, and so I've heard nothing but amazing things from them, and been working with them with their prep guy Tyler, and then just how the progression works. These guys are great, and it's been really awesome to work with them for sure.
Yeah, for sure. SoCal 5150 says, "Who's that tall drink of water, Eric?" That's funny, man. Hey, how tall are you, Derek?
I'm big. I'm like 6'4", 6'3.5", so I'm not your small traditional race car driver. So I always tell Can-Am I need more power to make up for it.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. You're not the little jockey on the horse. Well, I'm 6'2" as well, so I always fit in the cars. The Can-Am was actually a pretty nice car because it had so much room in it. So, all right, so excuse me, I've never interviewed you before, Derek. So maybe give us a little bit of background because you're one of the OGs in side-by-side racing.
Yeah, my brother and I have been doing this for a long time. We started with Can-Am back in 2011 when they came out with the Commander. So we've really gotten to, run the whole wave, call it, of side-by-sides. We've raced every single Can-Am from the Commander, the Maverick Turbos, all the way into the X3. So it's been just absolutely awesome.
What's your favorite one so far?
This X3 is pretty awesome, man. The suspension's great, the power, the torque. It's so cool. I mean, we started in a Rhino back in the day as a hobby. We'd go out for fun and, you'd be running through the desert and, 30, 40 miles an hour and you thought you were cool.
Yep. 30, 40 miles an hour. But when you see like the smallest 1-inch gutter, you have to like slam on the brakes.
Oh, it's funny. I mean, we still got, old tires, we used to run 26s, and we're like, oh, we got to go to a 28. It was like, woo, the desert.
Yeah. Hey, easy on the 26s, dude. That's our race spec for short course.
Exactly.
Yeah, but put that in the desert, man, and it gets rough and ugly.
I can only imagine. But that is cool. So thank you for giving a little bit of the background for your guys' racing program. It is cool to see you guys, and obviously thank you very much for coming on the show. Seeing how side-by-sides have progressed, I mean, there's been a lot of progression over the years, and let's talk about your race a little bit, and then we'll talk more about the products that you're using with X-Travel. But how was it going out there this weekend?
The Parker's always a great race. We love the 250. I think they call it the 260 this year. But that course is awesome. I mean, it's fast. You get, some whoops, but not so much. It's, gravelly, rally roads. It's a lot of fun stuff. And Parker, as fast as it is and as fun as it is, you're always pushed to the limit out there because, when you make one little mistake, you're into a rock, a berm. You're running 90, 95 miles an hour drifting sideways on those rally roads. You got to be on point out there. There's really no room for mistakes.
Yeah, 100%. Well, and everybody's filled with piss and vinegar at the first round, right? So, like, you just got to go balls to the wall to make sure that you can keep up.
Oh, and that's the truth. Halfway through the season, people are usually tired, wore out. They're showing up, half ready. But, first race of the year, everyone's bringing their A game, and unfortunately, we had a really rough start. We like to test a lot. Our car normally is pretty dialed showing up to the race. And, we tested. We're out with the guys from X-Travel, running the suspension, tuning it. We wanted to make sure we were ready for the race. And, car was perfect. We tested 2 or 3 times after that. Perfect. Got to qualifying, and she got stage fright.
Yeah.
We had the engine light pop on, going to limp mode, literally 50 yards into the first corner. Out of the blue, fluke, And
it never fails, though, dude. That's just the law of attraction.
Oh man, it's a heartbreaker when you put all that work into it, and you're ready, and a fluke, and I mean, we still couldn't find anything wrong with the car. We changed one O2 sensor, and she ran perfect all day in the race. So it's just funny how that works out sometimes.
Yeah, that is crazy. All right, so you didn't qualify very well, but you were still able to move through the pack, or what?
Well, I think I've never started that deep in the pack before. So it was.
Do you remember what your qualifying position was?
Yeah, it was beautiful, 71.
I see you were just behind Dustin Battleaxe Jones in 69th position.
Yeah, we were joking before the start. I was like, "You ready to shake and bake?
Yep.
Let's go do that." So no, we had our work cut out, and we basically started deep in the pack, and I actually really loved it. I enjoyed it because normally in a desert race you get those pockets where you're like, kind of like, okay, you're going through the motions, But this race, it was like a lion just hunting. You're just one after another all race long, just picking people off. I mean, so it was super dusty, and we made, a handful of, sketchy passes, sketchy calls out in the course, and we hit a few things. But, it was fun. We picked off a lot of cars, and fun doing that every so often.
Yeah, and that's the nature of the beast when you're out there for that long, right? Like, I mean, it's just so it's so long and so grueling when you have to pass that many people because you're not really riding on the same race course at that point. You know what I mean? Because there's a dude every 5 seconds in front of you.
Oh, yeah. It's like you get around one, then he was held up because the guy ahead of him. So, I mean, it was just one after another, and it definitely slowed us down because, there's some rocky sections and stuff, where, it's really risky if you push it around. So you get holed up for, a mile or two, and it's, 30 seconds here, 30 seconds there. So, we were a little off pace, but all in all, man, it was a great run. I love that course. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, right on. Hunter Miller just joined up. So what's up, Hunter? Do you have any plans on doing anything other than the Best in the Desert racing season this year?
Yeah, we normally we race Score, Best in the Desert, and a few others. So we got the Mint 400 later coming up in about 2 months. We'll be at the 1,000 this year. We just raced the 1,000 back in November. So we like racing all over the place.
Yeah, that's cool, man. You guys definitely had my eyes for the past couple of years. I haven't raced UTVs as long as you guys, but you were one of the first names that I saw when I started racing UTVs. So it's cool to be able to talk to you and to be able to hear some of these stories.
Yeah, I appreciate you having us on. It's fun talking and sharing what happens out there.
Hunter Miller says, "What's up, fellas?" All right, so let's talk a little bit about the race then. So the race, you obviously had to start from the back, and you this is not your first rodeo. You've done started from the front, you started from the back before, but this time you had a little bit of a different front end on your car with the X Travel stuff, and that's why James is on.
Yeah. We're glad to work with them, and candidly, he had worked with my brother and Tyler quite a bit leading up to the race, and it all really happened fast. And I didn't have as much seat time in it as my brother did. He was actually scheduled to race the car at Parker, but he hurt his back. So last minute, he's like, "Hey, you got to hop in and run it." So a little bit of a change up. I didn't have the seat time he did in it, but it was sure easy to drive, and it was like riding a bike once I got behind the wheel.
Yeah, exactly. Better. It's a different world, but Nick Castro has said this a couple times, but he says hopefully he'll be able to make it out and race with the Murrays at the next race. So that would be cool. But so the X Travel suspension, let's give everybody a little bit of an understanding what it is. I'm at IMG Motorsports now, and I saw them actually installing an X Travel kit on a customer's car out here. So what does it do for the Can-Am? It's a different front end system with a different top A-arm with some links and stuff in it, so maybe you can give us a little bit of understanding about it.
You want to jump on that, James?
Yeah. So it's a double pivot spindle. So we replaced the spindle, and we actually don't have any A-arms. It's all a multi-link front end. So 5 links separate. The Can-Am's pretty cool because we don't have to run that lower shock pivot like on a Polaris. So we were able to connect the shock directly to the rear upper link. So it looks like a big I-beam coming off on one side, all boxed and burly. So we were lighter on the Can-Am. We were able to fix a lot of the geometry because we have control over the spindle design. So a lot of that bump steer goes away. Pretty much all of the bump steer goes away. And then we really fight the steering feedback. So what we're able to do is all the pressure that's usually going into the tie rod and into steering, power steering unit and all that is taken away by our design. And, we'll let Derek talk about some of the stuff he hit, but we have stock tie rods installed on this thing, and to prove basically there's not a huge load on the front end. And it was a little scary for the Murrays to actually have that in there. I actually brought, some spare tie rods just to ease their mind. But I told them, hey, it's part of the design. It's not going to, you're not going to need them. And they didn't. And there was some stuff that he was telling me they hit basically about a 4-foot rock wall. Thought he ripped the front end off, but it's still tight, not even anything loose or bent or anything like that. So,
Derek, I've actually had the opportunity to drive it, not in a Can-Am, but drive that suspension on a Turbo Razor, and it was phenomenal in my mind. But how was it out there on the actual Parker course?
Like James was saying, leading up to the race, we got the suspension on, tested, and they had originally tested with stock tie rods, and so I was like, hey, I've never raced with stock tie rods. Like,
I would feel the same way, dude. I would feel the same way.
Like, I'm like, we are missing a step here, and they're like, no, it's good. And honestly, in the back of my head, I was just like, man, I just hope and pray this doesn't bite me in the, And, I was pushing pretty hard. I made a couple passes where, I hit some good rocks. I put her into some berms sideways pretty hard. And, I had one pass on two wheels. I had gone off a berm pretty good. So it was a blast. I was like a kid in a candy store out there.
How did it feel in your hands, like driving the car? Was it easier to drive?
Well, it way better. The Can-Am is an awesome car. But I think the one thing that's, an inherent challenge when you're pushing the limits in the desert is you get a good amount of bump steer and feedback.
Yep.
Especially with, the suspension being a little bit wider, if you're running like 76, 77, 78 inches, you feel a lot of that. And so what we were seeing is, we run a lot of stock parts, the stock rack, stock spindles, all that stuff in the past.
Apparently now stock tie rods.
Now stock tie rods, it's a first, But, and what would happen is the car would come out of the gate awesome, and halfway through the race, we're getting a little more shimmy, a little, it loosens up. You're beating these things up hard out there. And what was amazing to me is how I started the race after I beat the out of it. I finished, and the car was just as tight. Everything was tight. The wear, the tear, the way the load goes through the front end. I felt like I was more in control of the car.
Yeah.
And that's what you want when you're racing. If you can't put it on point, you're not as fast.
Yeah, 100%. Did you notice anything at the end of the race, like you weren't as tired?
Yeah, I felt good. I was ready to go again. I was like, bring me 2 more laps. The car was ready to dip.
Let's go.
I was like, man, I got a few more spots to make up. I just needed more time.
Right? Exactly.
Well, I'm glad that James was able to work with you guys. That's super cool. I always had a soft spot for all the products and stuff that they're coming out with. But let's talk a little bit more about your race. So, you're going through the race. You're having a good time. What is the pace like compared to what you're normally used to? Because we've had a few people on the show already today say the pace is getting pretty freaking fast, man. Like Phil was saying that it was like 60 plus mile an hour averages during the race.
Yeah, I think Phil, which had a great race, I think he was right around 62, 63 miles an hour, which kind of has been a thing that we've been chasing to get over. That used to be trophy truck winning pace, 2-3 years ago, so we're moving, to be running 59 to 63 miles an hour average it's fast.
Yeah, it really is. How does that feel for you guys? You guys have been through the gamut. You guys have been here since day one. And what was it to you to be able to go that fast? Well, maybe not quite as fast as Phil, but yeah.
Yeah, no, it was awesome to watch Phil, Vito, Dustin, all those guys are great guys, and they ran a great race, and I'm proud of them. Can-Am went like 1 to 8, I think, in the Pro Turbo class. It was a good day for all of us. But it's been fun from the beginning. Like I said, in the old days in a Rhino, you're going 35 up a hill and you're like, oh, and these cars now, if you're not pushing, 100, 105 miles an hour in that range, you're on, at least on the straightaways, you're falling behind,
Did you see?
You don't even feel it though. It's when you're out running, you feel like you're going 45, even if you're going 100. These cars have such good control.
Did you ever peek at the Speedo and see what your top speed was? Because I think we had one person say 103, 105.
I didn't check. I don't know the exact number. When I run, I just, you feel what you feel,
Yep.
and you're running what you run. But the car, I know we get up over 100 miles an hour out there on the roads, and you're running corners on the rally sections at 90 plus, so I'm assuming we're in that low 100 range. My co-driver, Aaron, normally you check the GPS and he turned it off at the finish line. So I didn't get an exact number.
That's so cool, though, man. Like, it just gets me excited to see the progress of all these UTVs and stuff. We're even talking to James about the progress and the way that the front end feels. You know what I mean? It's pretty rad to see all that stuff. What were some of your favorite parts of the race this year?
I love the rally roads out there.
Yep.
You're just, like I said, you're running, 95 miles an hour, just, sliding sideways, and the car is just so controlled and so tight. And it's just you're smiling ear to ear. It's amazing how controlled these cars are when you're pushing it at those speeds. And honestly, it's just like a Sunday cruise,
I always wanted to try like some drift roads with that X-Travel kit on it because I noticed that with the four-wheel drive system, it felt like the suspension geometry actually made it so you could point and shoot more, so that like it would get more grip in the front. So I feel like driving down some of those Gymkhana, Driftkhana type roads would just be so fun and controllable.
Yeah, it was a blast, and again, it was my first time really putting, it to the test with the X-Travel suspension. And what's cool is when you're running straight, it's super tight, and you're not getting the Dukes of Hazzard, wobble,
Yep.
so you're not driving like in the movies. And then what's cool is, when you want to plant the car, you just give it a little, and you kind of feel a little load, and then it just sets.
Yep.
And it holds. And it's it was a pleasure to drive.
Yeah, it's super cool. I'm glad that you guys were able to take it out and test it in a racing environment too. It actually means a lot to me for you guys to be able to go out there and do that. All right, so what's excuse me, what's the debrief? What do you guys go through after the races? Because Alexia Lemming was just on with us, and she's a young girl and she's just getting into this stuff. But man, she had a pretty professional attitude at the end of the race. She knew what she did bad, she knew what she did good, and she's got a list of things that she's going to fix. Do you guys go about it the same way?
Yeah, I mean, we try to perfect it over the years. We're pretty close to getting into the Veterans League here, I think. We've been doing this as long as anyone. But yeah, I mean, we have a good program. I mean, my brother Jason, Tyler, Zach. I mean, we got guys. All they do full time is work on our race cars. So I mean, we have a full program where parts are changed. I mean, we freshen the car and show up to every race with virtually a brand new car. So it's a pretty awesome deal working with Can-Am and having that awesome opportunity. So I mean, we go through Heims. We'll check suspension. I mean, but if the part moves, we usually get new ones.
Absolutely. All right, James, we're going to wind it down with Derek here. But what was your favorite part for the team throughout the weekend?
Man, seeing these guys face at the end of the race, all this hard work and prep that it's not just this team. It's all the guys and girls and seeing the blood, sweat, and tears going into all these programs, and then finally being able to roll up on that stage and getting interviewed and thanking sponsors. And it's incredible to me the amount of effort that some of these parents are putting in, the Danberries and the Gonzalezes. And it's so cool to come out and see these guys and these tireless, they're prepping their cars and waiting for parts and all kinds of all the issues that everyone's having, and then seeing all that, and then working with the Murrays. And I just think it's the whole experience that the off season, and then this quick turnaround, and hey, we got Parker in a couple weeks, and let's get this thing rallied and everyone come together, all the teamwork. It's just nonstop, and the amount of energy and force that all these teams have, and Dustin Battle Axe Jones coming out from Louisiana, and Calvary Cerrone and all these guys. It's just so cool to see what the sport's become and where it's going. And, I'm just thankful to be a part of, a small part of it, and just super proud of everybody. So
yeah.
That's my favorite part of it. I bet you see the same thing.
Yeah, well, I like what you said, the passion. I think that's what it is. It's the passion that everybody has. I mean, Derek, they run a full program and they're working on the cars. I mean, he's sitting in the shop right now, right? It's super cool to see that. And every single person that we've talked to today has that same amount of passion. Whether they have the same resources or not doesn't matter, because the passion that they have is what drives them.
For sure.
All right, man. I'm stoked. You guys did a fantastic job, Derek. I really think that it's going to be cool to see what you guys do for the rest of the year. And you said that you have plans to do Best in the Desert, Score, and what else?
We'll be at the Mint 400 in March as well.
Okay, cool. So we'll see you there at the Mint 400. But we're really pumped on the program. Throw a shout out to some of the people. You already said Can-Am and X Travel, but who else is on the program?
Yeah, we got a lot of great companies who support us. Our team, I always thank the most. Tyler, Zach, my brother Jason. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do half of what we do. But we run Fox, we run Torco, Laser Star Lights, PRP Seats, who else? Raceline Wheels, ITP. We got some of the best wheel tire combos out there. So we're pretty thankful for all those guys who help us.
Yeah, for sure. And I got to say, you guys have one of the best looking cars on the track too, man. I love the way you guys did the new livery and the color blocking and stuff. You guys really did a good job on it.
Thank you. And we're excited, to be working with X Travel and keep pushing it, and we'll see where that all shakes out, and hopefully get faster and faster.
Yeah, and I want to finish off saying I really appreciate you guys taking being on the forefront of the industry and pushing these UTVs to go to where they are now. I mean, you guys have done it for years, but it's really cool for me to see it now. So, man, thank you guys both for coming on the show. We really appreciate it, and we'll obviously see you guys at the races soon.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks for having us. Appreciate
Awesome show.
Yeah, thank you guys very much. All right, we're going to sign off. We only got 4% left on the battery here, so thank you guys very much. We really appreciate it. We'll see you guys at the races.
Cool. Thank you.
Good night.
All right, we're going to wind down the show here, man. That was an insanely cool Parker recap, man. There's so much coming from the show. Like, I think that everybody, like James said and like Derek was saying, is like, the vibe is so high. Everybody has so much passion for the racing, and it's just cool for me to see. Thank you very much to all the guys at IMG Motorsports for letting them invade their space over here. As you can see, we got a bronze KMC wheel over here. That thing's looking fresh. So if you need any wheels, hit up the guys at 4 Wheel Parts and go buy some KMC wheels from them. EFX Tires, thank you to them for sponsoring the show. Thank you to the guys over at Zollinger Racing Products. Thank you to the guys over at Motul for being a part of the show. They make some fantastic products. You should definitely get some Motul and get your car lubed up, change all the fluids and everything like that on there excuse me, before your next race or your next ride. Thanks to the guys over at Evolution Power Sports. Like I said, with my hat, they got some sweet gear, and you can also go buy some of their tuning kits, and their you can tune your vehicle with your phone now. So go check that out. Zollinger Racing Products, Cryo Heat, and Solder Weld. You can use the website link, thedirtlifeshow.com, and hit the sponsor deals over there, and you can save a whole bunch of money. So thank you guys so much for listening to us and hanging out for the day, for the night. We really appreciate it. We love you guys. We will see you next week.
Thanks for listening to The Dirt Life Show.